Chapter 66. Wanda is helpless. Lin Ke, what's wrong? How can you talk nonsense? What multi-level is not multi-level?
Snapped.
Lin Ke snapped his fingers. The two went to hell. Is this hell? Wanda blinked, looking at the black abyss below, with puzzled eyes. She is very familiar with the breath here. As the current Sorcerer Supreme, she often deals with hell, and her reputation resounds through the guest dimension. That's right. Lin Ke nodded and pointed down. Wanda realized something and looked at it seriously. Suddenly, a chill of horror rose from the bottom of her heart, freezing through her heart. I saw something creeping in the black abyss below. That is an endless demon. You did this? Wanda said in shock. That's right. Lin Ke nodded and said, I originally wanted to convert them into primitive magic and use them myself, but I don't need them now. Wanda was taken aback. What do you mean? She was shocked by Lin Ke's generosity from the bottom of her heart, but she didn't understand what Lin Ke said. Lin Ke didn't explain, but raised his hand and released a primitive magic. A lightning-like magic beam shoots towards the devil's abyss. Instantly, the hundreds of millions of demons, as if they were subjected to a chain reaction, all gasified and turned into primitive magic. Lin Ke raised his hand, and the magical energy came into his hand. Lin Ke, what are you going to do? Wanda couldn't help but take a step back.
Accept.
Lin Ke smirked and directly injected this world-class magical energy into Wanda's body. Wanda is wrapped in this powerful and harmless positive primitive magic, and life, energy, and magic begin to upgrade. Ordinary people can get the same effect by sticking this group of primitive magic. This is magic. I'm the Supreme Superman now. I can do whatever I want. Lin Ke looked at the rapidly growing Wanda and smiled triumphantly. Originally, he didn't want people around him to be exposed to multiple fields. But now, it doesn't matter. Standout is a brazen. Family and friends dying? It doesn't matter. Quantum manipulation directly revives them. Did he die by himself? It doesn't matter either. He will also be resurrected in the quantum realm. Come to the quantum realm and kill me if you have the ability. Let's see who is the real boss in this field. It's a joke to fight for the power of death and be targeted by the goddess of death. The goddess of death forced Lai in front of him, giving her 2 punches high and low. What happened to opening a cheat in your game? Don't you know I'm the son of the richest man? The only thing Lin Ke fears now is probably being sealed, trapped and so on. Definitely, there is also the over-limit existence of OAA. Because he can't understand OAA yet. Unknown. So fear. For the time being, he can't reach that metaphysical level. Unless you are willing to fully devote yourself to the quantum realm and become a demon. In other words, Dr. Manhattan is nothing in front of OAA. The light quantum Superman cultivation method may not necessarily allow me to become that kind of metaphysical existence. Other types of Superman training methods must be created as soon as possible. White Queen should be successful. Wait another month at most. If not, then we can only lock her into the time hut. Lin Ke thought in his heart and looked at Wanda. How do you feel? Under Lin Ke's gaze, Wanda opened her eyes. With a face full of surprise, Wanda gave Lin Ke a sweet kiss and said happily, It's great. Lin Ke, I saw the world. Before, she just knew or could perceive those endless dimensions. Now, she can fill in the controls directly. That kind of uninterrupted dimension enhancement is perfect. It directly brought Wanda's life origin and energy compatibility to a whole new level. Go home. Lin Ke laughed. Wanda nodded. After the two left, Hela appeared here. Her complexion changed wildly. The devil's abyss is empty, and she doesn't know who did it. Just when Hela was thinking wildly, Lin Ke's voice sounded in her head. I took the stuff. Good job. Hela almost vomited blood when she heard this. How do you feel like a cow and a horse? Really think she hella shameless. Mutant Kingdom. During the past 6 months, White Queen has been assassinated continuously. Her relatives and friends are constantly being hurt. She shot to protect again and again, and her reputation in the kingdom became higher and higher, enjoying endless glory. This glory also baptized her own soul, making it pure and powerful. In a certain assassination, she even achieved a breakthrough and became a 6th-level mutant, with enough spiritual power to remotely sense the world. In the magnificent palace, the White Queen was wearing a white dress, sitting cross-legged on the big white satin bed. Damn, why can't I find him? After a while, White Queen opened her eyes, and a deep look appeared in her eyes. After establishing the Mutant Kingdom, she has been fighting against the real Black Hand who persecuted Mutant. That Black Hand is called Mr. Sinister. This is a truly evil existence, and it is also a mutant. It has survived since the 19th century and has been doing various researches on mutants. The kingdom's combat troops wiped out the opponent's lair many times, and even killed the opponent. Harvest and rescue a large number of mutant experiment data and surviving mutant. Yet Mr. Sinister survived, because every time he is killed, it is his clone. I thought that after becoming a 6th-level mutant this time, I would be able to find the other party in a short time, but in the end, I found nothing. As long as it is a mutant, it is impossible to escape my spiritual detection. I know his strength. It is impossible to surpass me, unless there is someone else behind him. The White Queen had to make such a guess. Just when she was frowning more and more tightly, 3 personal maids came in and reported, "Queen, Administrator Darwin and Captain Charles are asking for an audience." The 2 maids, Rachel, Blink, and Psylocke, were dressed in ancient Greek-style gowns and white dresses, luxurious and simple. According to the rumors, Queen Mutant seems to have lily preferences, but no one dared to comment, even on the internet. Mutant's ability is special, and it may really be able to kill people along the network cable. In Mutant's mind, White Queen's breath is an imperial decree, and there are not a few people who regard her as a god. Well, let them in. White Queen's complexion softened a bit. A moment later, Charles and Darwin walked in. Charles is getting old, and the inside of his legs are actually prosthetics. White Queen worked with the Avengers to make him walk freely. Darwin and Charles bowed their heads as soon as they entered. They dare not look directly at the White Queen's grace. The subtlest and most blurred light shone in this palace, dazzling but not glaring, gorgeous and profound. In order to stabilize his position in the minds of his subordinates, White Queen does not recommend using small tricks. "This works great. Queen, I have something to report." Darwin got down on one knee. Charles also knelt down. White Queen didn't speak, just looked at the 2 quietly. Darwin continued, "During this battle, Juggernaut was injured. When we healed him, we accidentally discovered that he was not a mutant. This is evidence." As he spoke, he took out a jet black USB flash drive with both hands. "It's not a big deal. Our country accepts anybody," White Queen said lightly. Charles felt relieved. He knew that Darwin was overthinking. A great queen is not so narrow. But his current position is an important combat officer. Our country does not need a non-mutant as an important officer. Darwin suddenly became agitated, looked up at the White Queen and said, "There are also complaints from my compatriots about him. I have collected them all." Charles's complexion changed, and he said, "Darwin, you are breeding hatred." Psylocke stood in front of Darwin with a dissatisfied expression on his face. Darwin is so polite. Rachel came to the bed and tried to lower the curtain. The White Queen raised her hand to stop it, looked at Darwin and said, "Darwin, you are very strange today, and I can't feel your thoughts anymore." Darwin fell silent. The 3 maids were instantly alert. The White Queen has been assassinated all year round, and they have developed excellent professionalism. Darwin rubbed his forehead, and the human skin fell off from the top of his forehead, revealing a pure black humanoid monster. "Hee, I have always been curious why you have been getting stronger and never stopped." The black monster smiled deeply. This voice was all too familiar to everyone present. "It's Mr. Sinister. I'm also curious, how can you compete with the entire mutant race just because you live so long?" White Queen said indifferently. "I said I didn't know either. Would you believe me?" Mr. Evil laughed. "He is telling the truth. Every time he encounters a life-and-death crisis, he escapes by chance and becomes stronger. It's like the spirit is helping him. For example, the super-toxic USB flash drive in front of me. As soon as he came to awakening, he understood how to make this USB flash drive. It seems that I can't kill you this time." Mr. Evil sighed and suddenly looked at Psylocke. "However, let's charge some interest first." Next second, he flicked the USB drive towards Psylocke, and his whole body exploded like a biological bomb. From the spiritual perspective, the world in front of me is very slow, full of hairy feelings that make the White Queen instinctively afraid. However, White Queen rushed forward without any hesitation. "Psylocke, they are my subordinates, my compatriots, the people I want to protect." She stood in front of everyone, and the power of her mind formed a barrier. Boom! The violent explosion almost collapsed the palace. The U-disc turned into black smoke and entered the White Queen's respiratory tract. She fell into suspended animation. The body is asleep. The mind is in metamorphosis. It was like a reward given to her by a master of the mind. Whether the mind is strong or not, Phoenix Force doesn't care. She values faith, vitality, and more complex qualities. It should work this time. Lin Ke building, Lin Ke thought to himself. Everything White Queen is showing now should meet the standards selected by Phoenix Force. Originally, the White Queen trait was high, and he was constantly honed. Actually, he wants to get in touch with Phoenix Force. It's very simple. Just go back to the timeline where Jean Grey didn't die. But that might upset the Phoenix Force. And Lin Ke doesn't like the feeling of interfering with the timeline. That's right. Phoenix Force has its own likes and dislikes. He also paid attention to Jean Grey for several years before deciding to integrate into Jean Grey's body. Therefore, a Phoenix Force successor who can open his heart to Lin Ke is very necessary. In this way, he can also get close to the Phoenix Force and use any violent means. He also wants to have the full Phoenix Force. As for whether the White Queen will open up to him, there is no doubt about this. After all, in the spiritual world, she almost had a baby with herself. After dinner, Lin Ke and Sky are watching TV. The news of Supergirl's dispatch is being broadcast above. Although New York City is supervised by Tony's network technology, in this era of everyone is like a dragon, the crime rate is still a bit high. Mia, Hill, Lin Ke, and Sky are at home now. Simmons twists Iriana out to go shopping. Wanda went back to Camartage temporarily. Lorna didn't know where to go wild. At this time, Mia came over and said, Lin Ke, a friend of mine has become a superpower. I think we should go and see. As she spoke, she sat next to Lin Ke and handed over the tablet. A beautiful girl couldn't lift her head under the teacher's scolding, and suddenly she flew out of the school. Is this Midtown High? Lin Ke raised his eyebrows. Well, this girl named Jessica got flight and super strength in a car accident a month ago. Mia nodded, swiped the tablet and said, Look at this again. On the screen, an Asian girl is flying over the wall, sending out cobwebs from her fingertips, vigorous and graceful. Cindy Moon, a sister I know. I mentioned it to you before. I don't know if you remember it. Mia said seriously. I definitely still remember that Korean American, with excellent grades, is 4 years younger than you, 877. Lin Ke nodded. As long as Mia mentioned things, he would never forget them. Mia said. A week ago, the Avengers cleared the laboratory of the Osborn group, and a mutated spider ran out and she was bitten. She met Jessica 3 days ago, and the two planned to form a team of heroes, and wanted to ask us how to be superheroes. At least you don't have to commit crimes to fight crime. Both of them are very righteous children, and beautiful. At the end, Mia smiled. Pretty? What does it have to do with me? Lin Ke shook his head. Can't help but look at the Asian girl more. The female version of Spider-Man. Moreover, it is a classic plot with the old and the new, which can be regarded as a tradition. Mia hugged Lin Ke and begged, just go shopping with me. By the way, help Cindy take a look. I'm afraid that something bad will happen to her health. Please, this is a once-in-a-lifetime request. I'll show you in a bikini after that. Mia bit Lin Ke's ear with the last sentence. Lin Ke was speechless. Sky was also speechless. Do you really think my super senses are useless? Does a soft beep help? Sky snatched the tablet, found the previous video, and watched it. Jessica looks a lot like her younger self. His expression is melancholy, and there is a kind of stubbornness between his brows. What happened to this Jessica? Asked Sky. Her parents died in a car accident. She didn't want to be adopted, and she got into a fight with people at school. Mia replied. Suddenly, Sky looked at Lin Ke. Lin Ke, just go shopping with Mia and me? I'll show you in a bikini then. Lin Ke, you misunderstood me too much. At this time, there was a sound from the entrance. Iriana and Simmons came home from shopping, and Dudda ran over. Simmons akimbo said, I heard it all. Are you going to the beach to play? Mia nodded. Yes, Simmons, did you buy a swimsuit this time? Simmons rolled his eyes. I didn't know beforehand. Immediately, she happily said, did you choose a good place? Do you want me to be a travel guide? The whole family has been to Mount Everest and the like. Haven't been to the beach yet. Okay, Lin Ke, let's go to the beach this time and have fun, and call Wanda together. Hill also came out of the room. Hill is not as rambunctious as Simmons. He loves to eavesdrop on other people's little secrets, and his hearing remains at a normal level in daily life. Lin Ke scratched his head. How did it develop in this direction beforehand? Not bad, though. He nodded and said, it will be the 1st of next month. You should prepare diligently. The 1st of next month? This is a gap in time. Mia's eyes lit up. She was very happy, hugged Lin Ke and took a bite, and said with a smile, I knew, Lin Ke, you are the best. Iriana glanced down at her chest. Bikini? The other side. When the two girls received Mia's text message, their uneasy hearts were relieved, and their eyes shone brightly. Chapter 67. The next day. Ghetto. Sister Mia. Cindy and Jessica stood anxiously at the door of the apartment, dressed in slim figures. Not so polite. Mia chuckled and introduced Cindy to the two. This is Lin Ke and this is Sky. Lin Ke nodded and smiled at the two of them. Sky focuses on Jessica. Hi there. Cindy's eyes fell on the handsome Lin Ke. Jessica looked at Sky and said, I think she looks familiar. This figure is very similar to a member of Supergirl. The outside world calls me Jeonbwa Girl. Sky smiled softly. Immediately, Jessica and Sky's eyes lit up. Sister Mia, you are too kind to me, Cindy said happily. Unexpectedly, Mia also brought her teammates. Among the superheroes, the most active is the surprise girl, that is, Simmons. And Jeonbwa Girl has never appeared in public, even in this big hero age. Be very low-key. Cultivating the new generation is also our duty. Mia laughed. Cindy is one of her few Asian friends. She is always treated like a sister. Next, Cindy took the three of them to the basement of the apartment. The basement is very clean. A city map is hung on one side, and a large screen is hung on the other side. Well-appointed and professional looking. If you exclude the 4 big pictures of Supergirl on the other wall? How about it? Cindy laughed. You did all of this yourself? Sky felt like he was dreaming back to the Rising Tide organization. This is the standard den of underground heroes. Uh-huh. Cindy nodded, turned around deftly, picked up a manuscript, and showed it to Sky. How to be a superhero. From the hideout, Mia's eyes widened slightly, and she said with a smile, I'm interested, but do you really want to be a superhero? This business is very dangerous. Jessica said, it's not all about fighting crime. We also want to do some private detective work, earn some extra money, and make ends meet. Mia nodded knowingly. How about introducing you to the Avengers? I know an agent there very well. Sky laughed. She was referring to Natasha Romanoff. The two have a good relationship in private, and Natasha Romanoff taught her some agent skills, and he can be regarded as a half-mentor. In the 2 years since Lin Ke left, Lorna, Sky and others did not waste their time. No. Cindy waved her hands repeatedly and said, we don't want to participate in that kind of formal official department, and being a hero should be a matter of interest, otherwise it will become a job. We can make a little money usually, and we are satisfied. 11 Jessica nodded sharply. Hee. Mia chuckled and shook her head. These two girls have a feeling of being brave and timid. Lin Ke walked up to a tight uniform and said, did you make this yourself? The skin-tight holster had black limbs, and the torso was off-white with spider webs painted on it. Well, I made it myself. Exine chased by Lin Ke's side. In her senses, Lin Ke is like a soft sun, which brings her a very warm feeling, and she subconsciously wants to get close. Good taste. Lin Ke nodded, affirming. Of all the superhero skin-tight uniforms, this one is pretty good. After being praised, Cindy's expression brightened, and she asked curiously, are you also a member of Supergirl? Lin Ke said with a speechless face, I don't look like it no matter what. Cindy blinked and said, then you are the logistics staff? Lin Ke nodded amusedly. Yes, I am usually responsible for providing weapons. This girl looks very cold and cold. Why is her mouth a little bit broken? Is this eating a Peter Parker? Cindy was stunned, and immediately, there was some doubt in her bright and beautiful eyes. Lin Ke doesn't look like a weapon maker, and Supergirl never uses a weapon. She raised her eyebrows and said, my spider telepathy told me that you were lying to me. Spider telepathy, this ability is not bad. Street and alley battle magic skills, big scenes also play a role. Lin Ke looked Cindy up and down and instantly analyzed her ability. The genes are very stable, without the risks that Mia thought. Miss Sky, this is my treasured photo. While the two chatted, the other side also chatted. A month ago, Jessica's parents died, and she had a heart-to-heart knot. But the idol he has always admired is right in front of him, and this knot has gradually begun to unravel. Jessica is holding a picture of Sky's back. Such a photo is very expensive. Supergirl can be said to be the idol of all American girls and the benchmark of wind direction. Sky, do you want to move to live with us? 27 Sky rubbed Jessica's head, feeling more and more affectionate. Lin Ke's family lives in Lin Ke's building now, and it is very empty. It's nothing to live in such 2 little guys. Jessica was a little moved, looked at Cindy, and shook her head. Although she really wanted to go, this was the first time she met the other party after all. Seeing this, Sky changed the subject and said with a smile, "Did you choose a name for your group?" Jessica nodded vigorously. Spider Office. Well, this doesn't sound like a superhero combination, but it's kind of like a half-hero. Sky was stunned for a moment and praised, "Very good name." Mia walked to a blackboard at this time and sighed. "You have collected so many heroines." I saw inch-by-inch photos of the heroines pasted on the blackboard. Sky looked over, pointed at a dividing line, and said with a smile, "On this side are friendly heroes, and on the other side are heroes who need attention. A hero to watch out for?" Mia groped her chin and looked carefully. "This is Silver Sable, a mercenary. This is Black Cat, a robber. Both are dangerous. Often work together." Sky was so familiar, and then said a little angrily, "Amazing Girl has encountered two people before, but they ran away." Mia nodded. "I see. It's a little funny inside. Is this what it feels like to be in contact with a little girl? Pretty good. Who can stand being stared at by a cute girl with slanted eyes and staring at her with little stars? Not even if you are a girl. What are you looking at?" Cindy brushed her hair and blinked. "Help you check your body," Lin Ke said seriously. Cindy blushed and said, "How about my body? Great toughness." Cough, cough. Lin Ke coughed lightly. "Very healthy." On the other side, Mia listened and felt relieved. Lin Ke took off the spider bodysuit. "What are you up to?" Cindy blushed even more. "I kid you not. I really provide weapons for Supergirl." Lin Ke chuckled. The tights shrank in his hand and turned into a spider rune. Cindy's eyes widened in shock at this miraculous scene, and he asked in surprise, "What kind of magic is this?" She has only seen this kind of scene in movies. "It's really magic." Lin Ke nodded with a smile and hit the rune on Cindy's chest. Suddenly, a magically constructed spider battlesuit appeared on her body. "What's this?" Cindy panicked, looking around. Mia smiled and said, "Cindy, you are blessed. Lin Ke's items are not simple." Lin looked at it with a smile, shook his head and said, "A little thing. At critical times, this battlesuit can save lives. And the spider rune also has a healing function, which has many benefits. But to him, it's really the little things." At this moment, Cindy calmed down, jumped to the ceiling with her toes, and said happily, "My body feels as light as the wind. My strength has also increased." Jessica looked enviously. "It's a pity that I don't have a battle suit." Suddenly, she thought of something. "Cindy, do you still remember the thing you caught?" Cindy was taken aback and quickly got down from the ceiling. "That's right. Sister Mia, I'll show you something." As she spoke, she opened the refrigerator and took out a tempered glass jar from it. There is a mass of soft liquid substance in it. Cindy shook her palm. "This guy is called Venom, and he said he came from an alien." Venom immediately came to life and begged, "Let me out." The voice is shrill. It should be a woman possessed before. Mia stepped forward and said in surprise, "You can actually talk." Cindy said, "Sister Mia, don't underestimate him. This guy is very dangerous." Immediately, Mia's eyes lit up. "Danger? If so, I'm going to play it more. While Lin Ke is here. Play for me." Mia took the jar, shook it wickedly for a while, and opened the cap. Immediately, the venom rushed out like a cat smelling fishy. Mia grabbed it tightly. In an instant, the venom turned into liquid, trying to envelop Mia. Oops. Cindy's complexion changed drastically. However, what worried her didn't happen. A layer of white holy light resisted the venom. Infection to the elbow is over. Mia grabbed the venom with her other hand, pulled it off like a leather case, and said disgustedly, "What a disgusting thing." The venom struggled for a while to no avail, and said pitifully, "Please, let the venom go." The cute voice deliberately imitated makes people get goosebumps. Mia suddenly felt even more disgusted. But she originally kind of liked cats. "This soft thing is quite addictive to pinch. Become a basketball." Mia ordered. Venom instantly turns into a basketball. Mia took 2 shots, and the vibration was very strong. Cindy admired. "Sister Mia, you are amazing." At the beginning, she had spent a lot of hard work in order to deal with the venom. The corners of Mia's mouth curled up triumphantly. "What are you going to do with it?" The venom was caught by Cindy and the others. It was a trophy. "We don't know either, Sister Mia. Let's see if it's worth it. If it's not worth it, burn it to death." Cindy shook her head, thinking about it, except for the war zone. "Demon, this is a devil." Venom was flustered and quickly turned into a human form with tall legs and shouted, "I am valuable. I can make you very strong." Mia clicked her tongue and said, "That's worthless." Venom is shocked. I quickly looked around, found a trash can on one side, and jumped into it. After a while, it jumped out and spit out a garbage bag. I can help you eat garbage. Mia thought this guy was quite interesting. This is the first time she has seen alien life. After thinking about it, she said to Lin Ke, do you have a way to restrain it? Lin Ke nodded. A spell hit Venom and ordered, you must listen to people from now on. Mia glanced at Lin Ke suspiciously. It's that simple? But she still ordered, go and eat that lamp. Immediately, like a mad dog with venom, he opened his mouth wide and swallowed the desk lamp in one gulp. Go and eat that book. Go and eat that pin holder. Become a cat. Become a dog. At the end of the game, Cindy and Jessica also joined in, very happy. Ha ha ha, the long red tongue spit out the venom. The white eyes were blurred, and he might die at any time. Energy consumption is too much. Sky said speechlessly, why don't you let it eat the socket? Mia's eyes lit up, as if she really had this plan. This way it will really die. This guy eats chocolate. You can feed it a little. The corner of Lin Ke's mouth twitched, and he reminded. All right. Mia gave up this idea, and picked up the cat-shaped venom instead, and handed it to Cindy. Here, I'll give it to you to raise, Cindy said with a little embarrassment. Sister Mia, why don't you take it away? She felt that Mia had a good time playing just now. This is a gift for you. I'll come over and grab a few when I have time. Mia waved her hand generously, like a big sister. 2 teenage girls should be bored in this basement. Raising such a pet just relieves boredom. Then thank you, Miss Mia. Cindy grabbed the venom and shook it. It felt really good. If you look closely, it's ugly and cute. Then, Cindy turned to look at Lin Ke and asked, Lin Ke, is it always obedient? Lin Ke said with a smile, that's right, but it listens to everyone. Be careful not to let it be abducted. Jessica looked expectantly and guessed, Lin Ke, did you use magic just now? Lin Ke nodded. After being confirmed, Jessica's eyes lit up and she wanted to learn, but she was too embarrassed to speak. At this time, Mia took out a business card, handed it to Cindy and said, aren't you worried about breaking the law before? Don't worry, just call this number if you have anything to do. Cindy took a look and said in surprise, it's Iron Man. Mia nodded and smiled. Don't worry, this is a private call, online at any time. However, there is a problem now. Mia Xian pointed at her chin, pretending to be distressed. What's wrong? Cindy's heart tightened. Jessica also looked anxious. They don't want to be pointed out by their seniors. Mia shook her finger and said, your base is too unsafe. What if someone plants a bomb? Besides, there are so many people here. Sooner or later you will be exposed. This is indeed a big problem. Cindy hurriedly asked, then what should we do? Mia said definitely is to change places. It happens that the dormitory of our employees, Wang Mo's, is empty, and there is no one around, so you can live there. Cindy is different from Jessica. She is very familiar with Mia, and once lived in Mia's house for a while. Immediately, she nodded happily and said, thank you, Sister Mia. Jessica smiled from the bottom of her heart. Sky's eyes widened, and a smile appeared on the corner of his heroic mouth, and he silently glanced at Mia. It is precisely because of everyone who cares about the family that this family can maintain order. Lin Ke looked at the innocent Jessica, and remembered that this poor girl would be tortured and detained by a villain in the future, and his eyes immediately turned cold. Somewhere, a supervillain nicknamed Purple Man had his head exploded. Mutant Kingdom. 7 days have passed since the Queen fell into a coma. The news was blocked by mutant executives, but after a long time, it will definitely be exposed. Inside the room, Charles, Deadpool, Gambit, Logan, Colossus, Beast, and the 3 Cuckoo sisters gathered together with sad faces. After the White Queen fell into a coma, her whole body turned into diamonds. All medical methods cannot be carried out. They have nothing to do but wait. A pessimistic thought emerged in their hearts uncontrollably. The kingdom of mutant won't just fall, will it? There was a dead silence in the room. Suddenly, a phoenix cry resounded through the sky. The energy of the entire mutant kingdom is agitated. Charles's expression changed suddenly, and he rushed out of the room immediately, looking towards the main hall. The crowd followed closely behind. Immediately afterwards, they saw a scene that they would never forget. A white phoenix covering the sky rushed into the hall. At the same time, Lin Ke shouted over there. You watch the entry of Phoenix Force into the world. Your life potential increases, you have an epiphany, and you create rebirth from the ashes. Rebirth from the ashes. After you experience a real death, you will be reborn from the ashes, gaining stronger power than before. Lin Ke's eyes burst into light. Just watching it gave him an epiphany. Stonehammer. The opportunity to promote the Silver Superman cultivation method lies in the Phoenix Force. Chapter 68. Congratulations. Lin Ke's face was full of smiles, and he was overjoyed. Really happy for White Queen awakening. White Queen's awakening this time does not seem to be easy. The energy level rises directly to multiple. This world is so unfair. Oh no. White Queen can be regarded as a hero from infinite diversity. If this isn't fair, what is fair? Lin Ke didn't go to see White Queen immediately. The vision that happened in the Kingdom of Mutant was quickly reported by the whole United States, and the matter fermented. Everyone was waiting for the official answer from the Kingdom of Mutant. Night. Palace. White Queen screened everyone away and sat cross-legged on the bed. I don't believe I can't find you this time. Mr. Sinister must die. Just when she was about to extend her spiritual power and retrieve all the mutants again, Lin Ke appeared. You really enjoy it. Lin Ke leaned against the velvet pillow and sighed. White Queen suddenly opened her eyes, recognized Lin Ke, and said with a frown, "It's you." Lin Ke laughed and said, "Don't panic. I've been following you for a long time." Seeing Lin Ke, the White Queen thought of everything that happened in that illusion. Her eyes wandered, and she gritted her teeth. Lin Ke said awkwardly, "Don't worry, you are really not dreaming." The White Queen got what she wanted that time, but she was really tossed hard. Although it took only a moment to wake up, if you really want to think back, you can recall the details. White Queen's eyes were sharp. It's just in time for you to come. I also want to let you taste the feeling of falling into a fantasy world. A huge burst of spiritual power struck, like a breeze. Lin Ke was not affected at all, and even scratched his cheek. Sure enough, this is an illusion. The White Queen was shocked. Lin Ke clicked his tongue and moved his palm, and the White Queen moved into his arms. Don't move, I'll show you something nice. In front of him, a vortex appeared, and within the vortex, Mr. Sinister was busy doing experiments. This is Mr. Sinister himself. Lin Ke laughed. The White Queen's eyes were burning with anger. Suddenly, Mr. Sinister burst into flames, was burned to death, and turned into ashes. Taking a deep breath, White Queen solemnly said, "Thank you. She has to thank us." Cough, cough. Lin Ke coughed lightly, without any intention of hiding, and said bluntly, "You're welcome, because I've been protecting him all along." White Queen was dumbfounded. In the next moment, disbelief crept across his graceful and luxurious face. He broke free from Lin Ke's arm. His eyes were icy cold. Lin Ke pulled her back. He is the person who can't stand the serious atmosphere. In the future, we will usher in a big crisis. I need 357U awakening Phoenix Force. What Lin Ke said was not a lie. The multi-level perception force let him know that the Transcendent has already made waves in another universe. The war between him and Molecule Man will destroy countless dimensions. It's just that because of the different speed of time, this disaster will not happen until a long time later. But this does not prevent Lin Ke from saying so, because he will definitely want to get a share of the pie at that time, and needs a qualified calendar area. You didn't lie to me? White Queen said suspiciously. True heart for true heart. Lin Ke said seriously. After speaking, Lin Ke struck while the iron was hot. Snapped. A snap of the fingers. Multiple screens appeared in the vortex ahead. All the mutants who died in the fight between Mr. Sinister and the Mutant Kingdom are back. They were amazed by what they had experienced. Lin Ke raised his eyebrows and said, "Who else do you want to revive? Or what other wish do you have? I will satisfy you once and for all today." White Queen's breathing became slightly rapid. Lin Ke's ability is beyond her expectation. How big was the gap between myself and him back then, and how big is still now? She thought for a while and said, "Let's revive all the mutants in Xavier's school, including Jean Grey." Now she has the confidence to ride all mutants. Even those who used to be hostile will become friends and subordinates. It just so happens that the Kingdom of Mutant needs a lot of backbone. Lin Ke nodded. No problem. Next second, the X-Men who had died appeared in front of Charles and them. One last thing. White Queen stared at Lin Ke and said solemnly, "Fight with me." Lin Ke continued to nod. No problem. The next moment, the two appeared in a pure white space. This is my imagination space. Please feel free to use it. Lin Ke raised his hand as an inviting gesture and said with a smile. Panicked fire rises in the pure white space and spreads outward. Lin Ke's eyes lit up, and he nodded in satisfaction. This proves that Phoenix Force is at least at the same level or stronger than imagination, otherwise it would not come out at all. The sea of fire eroded towards Lin Ke, blocked by imagination. The closer to Lin Ke, the greater the blocking force. Finally, the White Queen roared, and a fire phoenix flew out of her body, rushing towards Lin Ke. The concepts of destruction and creation instantly filled the entire imaginary space. The Phoenix Force broke through the resistance, and when the flaming beak was still a finger away from Lin Ke stretched out his fist. Next moment, he opened his fist and touched the bird's head. Phoenix Force was stunned, and the blazing white pupils showed a look of astonishment. So this is Phoenix. Lin Ke embraced its neck, disregarding the burning of its body, being engulfed by the flames, quite intoxicated. There was an indescribable emotion in Phoenix's pupils, as if there was a hint of joy. This is the first time anyone has embraced it. Come, the cry resounded in the imaginary space. Snap! The pure white space is broken. In reality, Lin Ke's body was also being burned. Instead of dispelling these flames, he used the power of life to burst out all the vitality, spiritual power, creativity, imagination, and emotion in his body. He will use everything that matches him to take over these flames. Feng Huang, you are so great and kind. You are the manifestation of the vitality and emotions of the universe, and you are the escort of life that has not yet been born. You should not be rejected, let alone feared. Lin opened his arms and watched himself burn out. At this moment, he realized a lot, and that transcendent comprehension was vividly reflected at the moment. Lin Ke was burned to death, but not really dead. He appears in the quantum realm. The body reorganized almost instantly. His eyes glowed with an emotional light that was brighter than the explosion of hundreds of millions of fixed stars. You accommodate the Phoenix Force with all your heart. Understand the true meaning of the existence of the Phoenix Force, and your life potential has risen above the almighty universe. You are selected by Phoenix Force, and you can unconditionally dispatch the energy of Phoenix Force, the offspring of other hosts in the multi-universe. You combine the Silver Superman practice method with the true meaning of emotion, life, and spiritual power, and you have an epiphany and create the Golden Superman practice method. Golden Superman practice method. Your own vitality will continue to be sublimated from nirvana and eventually surpass the 10 dimensions, concepts, information, philosophy, consciousness, and narrative layers. This is one more Phoenix Mother. Lin Ke felt the great joy in his heart, and his face was full of happy smiles. Rejoice, for pleasure is nothing but this. I can now use the full Phoenix Force. What kind of concept is this? He's almighty universe level already. Although strength is borrowed, not an essential improvement, it is enough to make Lin Ke feel happy. Marvel can reach this level of existence, really not many. Then, there is the Golden Superman training method. This is something that gives him real, supreme satisfaction. Regardless of the time dimension, this practice method is enough for him to meet the 10 grades of CAA. But, is this carriage enough? Definitely not enough. Lin Ke wants more carriages. The power of the sky? There is potential for this, but it is currently unavailable. Primal magic? This requires facing all the magicians in the entire multi-universe. DC world? You can give it a try. Lin Ke is in no hurry now. Phoenix Force gave him enough confidence, allowing him to use a lot of power that was once difficult to touch, such as fairy power, chaos force, beyond Protoss, heart of the universe, primordial gods, etc. The universe is always drawing miracles inadvertently, even if galaxies collide. It's just a flash of brilliance. This is the 2411th dim red giant star on record. It's less than a year since the first suddenly dim red giant star. It's less than 3 days before the 810th red giant star suddenly dims. Who else can stop him? The golden figure. That golden melody is full of unknown mysteries. Since that Earth boy named Lin Ke came into contact with the golden figure 3 days ago, I can't see through the golden figure even more. Lin Ke is a life form, ABD, that suddenly appeared on Earth in 2012. His talent is extraordinary, and he has shown wisdom beyond the age since he was a child. In the battle with the 7 gods, his perception surpassed this universe. Later, he possessed the characteristics of the original ancient god. Why? Is the will of the earth helping him? He darkened my sight with black mist, focused on marking. He's into the pocket universe, the focus tag. On this day, The life force in the universe increases. The builders? I'm not sure. I continue to observe. He has debts and repays them. He is ungrateful, lawful, and neutral. I found out that Lin Ke doesn't exist in the parallel world. Without the blessing of the projection of the parallel world, he cannot become an abstract god. All power will be taken back. No, his strength seems to come from himself. I seem to have discovered the core life of the multi-universe here. Not sure, look again. Should I tell the Council of Elders about this? Forget it, I'm just an outsider. On March 1st, 10.3 billion years in the universe, Lin Ke returned to Earth. On March 4th, Lin Ke spoke to Hela. On March 5th, 10.3 billion years in the universe, after Lin Ke got along with Natasha Romanoff, my vision was blocked. That night, Lin Ke entered the quantum realm, and I lost my vision, focusing on marking. Half a year later, I suddenly found that I couldn't observe his timeline and possibility anymore, focus on marking. His personality has changed a little bit, more flamboyant and casual. On July 7th, Lin Ke contacted White Queen. I lost my vision. On July 8th, Lin Ke came into contact with the golden figure and glanced at me. On July 11th, Lin Ke appeared behind me and walked towards me. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Wu Tu turned his head. There was no wave in Zhousho ancient well. I said, "Can you stop talking to yourself all day? It's annoying." Lin Ke stared at the big-headed doll wearing a cape in front of him, speechless. Today, he was preparing to go to the beach with Hill and the others for vacation, and this guy kept buzzing in his ears. Aren't you observers non-interfering with other civilizations? Lin Ke flicked his forehead with his fingers. Knowing that you are omniscient and omnipotent, knowing that you are awesome, can you leave me alone? I did not interfere with other civilizations. Wu Tu covered his forehead, shook his head and said. Lin Ke frowned. Then what are you doing? Wu Tu, I'm talking to myself. Lin Ke, believe it or not, I give you a punch. Just say something. I'm going back soon. Lin Ke squinted at Wu Tu. You killed the celestial group. I like it very much. Wu Tu looked at the starry sky in the distance and said with his hands behind his back, but you neglected the opportunity to become a super multi-diversity god. I feel very sorry. Observers have had a long-term war with the Tingen group, and they don't like each other. This point, Lin Ke knew after absorbing all the living matter of the celestial group. But what does Wu Tu mean when he says that there are multiple gods? The preaching is super diverse, he naturally thought. But this can only be done slowly, relying on quantitative changes to cause qualitative changes. He hurriedly asked, what do you mean? Wu Tu put his hands behind his back and said nothing, full of unfathomable feelings. Could it be that it hurts just now? Need to rub it? Lin Ke thought about it and was ready to start. Wu Tu suddenly turned around, with a trace of emotion and cunning in his eyes. I like the earth very much and the life on it. I have observed it for hundreds of millions of years. Do you think the earth will be destroyed? Lin Ke's heart moved, and he hurriedly said, if I'm here, why not? Wu Tu looked relieved. Suddenly, he sighed and said meaningfully, sometimes, males can't be too indifferent to females. It seems that something big is happening in hell, but unfortunately, that's not my observation area. What Wu Tu said was thoughtless, but Lin Ke immediately understood his hidden meaning. Proverbs about multiple things, related to hell, related to Hela. This big head, people still blame it. Thanks. Lin Ke said thanks. It has nothing to do with me. Wu Tu shook his head and said lightly, don't worry. My mouth is the most strict in the universe. Lin Ke promised with a smile. Correct. Wu Tu suddenly seemed to remember something, rubbed his chin and said, those living planets are usually illuminated by sunlight, so beautiful. Life is truly magnificent and full of miracles. Lin Ke, just say it directly. Let me not attack the sun that shines on life. There are no outsiders here. On the blue ocean planet, there is only one isolated island. Lying on the beach, one can see magnificent natural landscapes such as the stars in the deep sky and the northern lights at a glance. Hill and the others were wearing swimsuits of various colors, laughing and cursing at the beach. Lin Ke was lying on the beach chair, wearing sunglasses, enjoying watching this scene, feasting his eyes. On the whole, skies is the most predictable, perfect like a work of art, wheat-colored skin full of healthy colors, mermaid lines and vest lines can be vaguely seen. And more perfect than her is Mia. Angel-like face, devil-like figure, just like a modeling goddess who descended into the world. The beauty is unreal. Simmons usually does not show the mountains and water, but after wearing a swimsuit, he is also very eye-catching. Slightly chubby, with very fair skin, she gets teased to be silly from time to time, and it's fun to watch. Hill is wearing a one-piece white swimsuit, wearing the same sunglasses as Lin Ke, stepping on a surfboard, leading a wave of blue waves. Lorna is very childish, flat-like. It's completely explaining what it means. Small breasts and a sly expression. It's cool. Iriana came over, holding 2 glasses of juice. Her eyes were indifferent. Hee. Lin Ke took the juice with a smile. Doesn't that man look stupid when he sees this kind of scene? Drool is almost coming out, pervert. Iriana said something disgusting and sat down on a beach chair beside her. Lin Ke looked over, his eyes sparkling slightly. Iriana has a slender figure and fits well, and she often has a youthful atmosphere. A black bikini decorated with lace is full of mystery and makes people want to take a peek. The warm sun shines along the shadow of the coconut tree, making the beautiful golden hair shine even more. At this time, a pair of hands rested on Lin Ke's shoulders. Lin Ke turned her head and saw Yuan Lida. Wanda was equally brilliant in her grass-green bikini with a tulle skirt. Slightly conservative. Lin Ke, I am very satisfied with the journey you planned this time. Wanda smiled sweetly. Chapter 69. Lin Ke laughed and said, Is there any reward? Wanda took a sip of Lin Ke generously and said, We will come here often in the future. So how about we name this place Paradise Island? Iriana looked over, with some anticipation in her cold eyes. Good idea. Lin Ke's eyes lit up. Those who agreed couldn't agree more and said, I will give you a permission later. As long as you want, you can come anytime. This planet is half fantasy and half material, isolating all external vision. Daily necessities can be created with imagination and can also adjust the flow of time and weather. It would be a pity if it was ruined after one use. Come back for dinner. Cindy and Jessica stood in front of the holiday villa, waving and shouting. The two passed the inspection period of Hill and the others, and they were semi-officially joined the big family, kind of like an intern. So this time, I will leave the cooking to them. Although meals are realized by imagination, they also need to be carefully crafted. Lin Ke looked at the girls who were gradually walking towards this side, took off his sunglasses, and his eyes showed infinite longing. After the holidays. That's the journey. Hell, many demon lords like to call themselves Satan, but this title actually has a special meaning. It symbolizes the supremacy of the devil world. Only on the throne of purgatory and as the co-lord of hell can one be called Satan. And this is not a vain honor. Instead, it can actually expand its powers to ultra-diverse fields. But if this is the case, the power gained is just a flash in the pan. To really change the essence, one needs to sit on the throne of heaven at the same time. Throne of purgatory is easy to find. You can sit whenever you want, but at an unimaginable negative cost. The king of heaven is even more difficult to obtain. It exists in the realm of omnipotent magic. Only when a recognized master appears on the magic plane, the group will appear. The 8 major Mephistas, headed by Tesseract, held periodic wars in the entire magic field for this purpose. This is called the Battle of the 7 Realms. Multiple ancient gods like Waishandi, lords of major dimensions, Mephistas outside of dimensions, and magical entities will all participate. This is a war belonging to the Almighty of the magic plane. And just recently, the Master of the Crimson Universe, Tesseract, sent an invitation letter to Hela. Invite her to be his agent, fight together, and help him ascend to the throne of heaven. That's right. The Battle of the 7 Realms is about to start a new round. This is all the information Lin Ke got from Hela. Originally, Hela had resentment and was unwilling to speak out. But as soon as Lin Ke took out the bundle of fairy ropes, he did it. Lin Ke didn't expect that Hela would be so obedient to tie the fairy rope. Puppy Hela. No, Lin Ke didn't expect that the long-known Battle of the 7 Realms would have such a deep meaning. Before, he thought it was a feud between several Mephistas. Thanks to the Observer for reminding him. Otherwise, you might miss this opportunity. Soon, there is a message from the magic field. Styx Hela will participate in the Battle of the 7 Realms. Styx has been in the limelight for the past 2 years, and in fact, he has caught the eyes of many magic bosses. But if you want the 7 Realms War, this is a bit out of the imperial calendar. It is estimated that if a wave is set off, one will be drowned in the sea. Crimson Universe. Tesseract grinned wickedly. He knew that the person behind Styx was Lin Ke. When Lin Ke achieved diversity, he once had a glimpse of it from afar. Another diversity joins the fray. This will inevitably bring new changes to the Battle of the 7 Domains. Will the battle of the seven realms come to an end? It must be. Because of him, Tesseract. Everything is under control. Tesseract's eyes revealed the color of victory. Deep in purgatory, surrounded by demons, a black throne stands quietly. Demons prowl around, but no one dared to sit on it. In addition to being backlashed by the throne of purgatory, it will also be torn apart by other demons. Can you give me a break? Tokay felt that he was patted on the shoulder and turned his head quickly. Discovery is a little boy. There are two women besides Iabalion, both of whom are beautiful. A cold and arrogant, a domineering appearance. They are Hela and Wanda respectively. Hela. Torque recognizes Hela. Long time no see, talk. Hela laughed. It's been a long time since I saw you. By the way, Hela, you are very majestic now. Tokay was talking to Hela. His eyes were rolling around Chotion. The surrounding demons will automatically separate. It seems that they didn't see the three of Lin Ke. They are too weak. The reason why Talk can block the way is because he is at the same level as Sidhorn. Hee. Isn't this what it should be? Hela said proudly. Looking at it again will dig out your eyeballs. Suddenly, Wang Qi let out a cold snort. Tokay's eyes were full of evil, which made her very uncomfortable. Miss Magic, don't be angry. Talk laughed, his eyes still fixed on Wanda. The breath of origin magic power, Sithorn's God's choice. It seems that you are the newly appointed Sorcerer Supreme. Long is really iconic. Are you interested in staying with me in hell? Accepting Sorcerer Supreme as a servant. No demon has ever done this, right? Just happened to happen. Who told this guy to dare to come to hell on his own initiative? As he spoke, he was about to claw at Wanda. The next moment, his hands are gone. It was directly modified into nothingness by Wanda. Crimson energy entangled Torque like a spider web. Damn it, how can you be so strong? Aren't you Sithorn's food? Tokay's complexion changed wildly, and he grew to a height of several thousand meters in an instant, and his surroundings turned into flesh in an instant. This form seems to be able to develop all the abilities of Took, but he didn't intend to fight. He tore open a dimensional tunnel with his backhand and wanted to escape. This woman is no weaker than Sidhorn. If such an unexpected situation occurs, if you continue to fight, you will be a fool. Wait until you get back to find out the bottom line. Come on. A phoenix cry sounded. Brilliant flames instantly burned all over Tokay's body. Amidst the mournful wailing, Torque turned into nothingness and was completely excluded from the timeline. Attack into the strings. This is almost a 10-dimensional attack, the highest field of physical law. No one can escape. Even the laughing bat from another universe. Once killed by Lin Ke, that is a real death. The kind that even the real spirit can't be resurrected. The moment Tokay was killed, the unscrupulous gazes staring at Lin Ke and the three of them in the void suddenly retracted. Some even directly isolated their own information and pretended to be dumb. They recognized the power used by Lin Ke. Phoenix Force. Lin Ke walked up to the throne of purgatory step by step and sat down leisurely. Nothing happens. At least that's how it looks to outsiders. Not only was Lin Ke not caught back by the seat, but he even took out a book to read. It is the Book of Darkness. The power used should be returned 10 times to the throne of hell. This is too evil. Lin Ke secretly marveled. It is not known who created the seat. After 1 hour, you comprehend the throne of purgatory, your affinity for hell increases, and you create evil factory, Devil Allah. You create a virtual demon person, and demons below the Allah level will obey you absolutely. 2 hours later, you comprehend the throne of purgatory, your affinity for hell increases, and you create evil emperor, evil emperor. You create a virtual demon personality, and demons below the emperor level will obey you absolutely. 5 hours later, you comprehend the throne of purgatory, your affinity for hell increases, and you create King Mephisto. King Mephisto. You create a virtual Mephisto person, and demons below King Mephisto obey you absolutely. 10 hours later, you comprehend the throne of purgatory, combined with the virtual personality system. You have an epiphany and created the Mephisto scripture. Mephisto scripture. Dispatch the power of demons in all the gods and demons system. The more power you dispatch, the closer the connection with hell. As a demon who is the incarnation of the original ancient god relic, the upper limit is too low. If you don't strengthen the whole system, you can't use it as my tool. Lin casually flipped through the Book of the Dark God, planning to make a big one at once. This is also his impromptu idea. The only king of hell. At that time, Even if other magic domains do not recognize themselves as the masters of magic, they only need to destroy the other magic domains and leave Hell, the largest magic plane. Then the throne of heaven will still appear. With Phoenix Force around, Lin Ke never planned to take an ordinary path from the beginning to the end. If he went to participate in the battle of the 7 realms of Rao Shitsi in a proper manner, then he is still the supreme Superman. After one day, you go deep into the throne of purgatory, hell, and demons, and you have an insight into the essence of the three. You have an epiphany and created the Mephisto system. Mephisto system. Under this set of demon system, demons are divided into 8 levels. First-level demons, second-level demons, third-level demons, great demons, demon lords, demon Allah, demon Emperor 1, and great Mephisto. Every time a demon is promoted, he can enter a collective knowledge base, which is shared by all demons. Successful. Lin Ke raised his eyebrows happily. The next step is to promote this system. Lin Ke began to use the ability of the demon throne. In the entire super-large multi-universe, all the demons below the demon lord have all mutated. This is an unimaginable size. The numbers are beyond description. But Lin Ke didn't leave his seat just because of this, but took advantage of this unprecedented right to make a law. From now on, there will be a bloody battle in hell every 3,000 years, and all demons need to participate in it. The final surviving number is limited to 10, as the ancestors of the new era of demons. The force of backlash soon reached the level that Lin Ke could not bear. Lin Ke's job is too big. Even the 5 creation gods may not be able to withstand it, unless there is an omnipotent level of strength. However, Lin Ke really has all-level experience. The complete Phoenix Force is fully displayed on him. Zero looking for flowers. Dare to bite me back. I don't think you've seen Phoenix Force before. Lin Ke bared his teeth. It doesn't matter who is covering him. He stood up and directly blasted the throne of hell. Horrific explosions shook the endless dimension. Hell suffered an unprecedented blow and was torn apart. At the center of the explosion, time and space were directly washed into a blank. The law of the super-large multi-universe quickly came into effect, and this piece of time and space was quickly repaired and the basic structure was restored. Lin Ke showed up with Wanda's 2 daughters, thinking about it. An unprecedentedly huge scarlet platform appeared. Lin Ke pulled out the brand new throne of purgatory from the imaginary space and placed it on the ground. This seat was created by him and belongs to him. Just put it here as a symbol of the existence of his creator. Continue reading. Lin Ke sat on the seat, stretched his waist, and took out the Book of Darkness. Wanda and Hela stood by. The shock of the 2 women has run out of imagination space. Wanda's joy needs no mention. She has long been a non-wuxiaomon, and clearly knows what it means to complete the Phoenix Force. Although she has always been more Buddhist, she will not persuade Lin Ke to give up the Phoenix Force like some brainless saints, so as not to affect the omnipotent universe or something. Hela is a strong admirer through and through. Her knees are a little weak now, and she wants to kneel down. But he worried that Lin Ke would not like Wanda on the side. What's more, this is fun for 2 people, and it's not good for a third person to join. 3 hours later, you study the Dark Divine Book, you have an epiphany, and you created Chaos Meditation Method and Anti-Entropy Technique. Chaos Meditation Method. Purify Origin Magic Power. 0. Anti-Entropy Technique. Use Origin Magic Power to reverse entropy increase. After reading the Dark God Book, Lin Ke just received it once. The Dark God Book claims to have infinite knowledge. But this infinity, in his case, is obviously limited. As the founder of Black Magic and Origin Magic Power, Sithorn is quite knowledgeable. Origin Magic Power is a powerful magic second only to original magic, with extremely strong reality modification ability. It's just that when Lin read the Dark God Book, he didn't want to learn Origin Magic Power, but to explore Chaos Force. What needs to be named is that Origin Magic Power and Chaos Force are 2 concepts. Chaos Force is raw power. As for Origin Magic Power, it is obviously a reference to Chaos 5. In its heyday, Wanda used Chaos Force to restart the Omniverse. This kind of powerful force, Lin Ke definitely wants to get his hands on it. After all, the benefits he got with the Phoenix Force were too great. However, it is a pity that there is no elaboration on Chaos Force in the Dark God Book. Sithorn can create Origin Magic Power. He must have seen Chaos Force. Lin Ke touched his chin. Before those magical entities arrive, have a good talk with Sithorn. By the way, strengthening a wave of Wanda. Call. Lin Ke threw the Dark Book into the air, and a burst of magical energy hit it. Immediately, The dark divine book exploded into a firework, and Sithorn was directly summoned. Sithorn stepped back instantly, looked at Lin Ke in amazement, and said in a low voice, "What are you going to do?" To be honest, he doesn't want to provoke Lin Ke very much now. "I want to know about Chaos Force." Lin Ke laughed. "Absolutely impossible. No matter what price you offer, there is no such thing as a business district." Sithorn sneered again and again. The mystery of Chaos Force is his most important core power besides the body of the ancient god. How could he hand it over? That's not what dreams are made of. "Is this your last words?" Lin Ke grinned. He didn't even say he wanted to trade. Next moment, the sky and the earth turned into a pure white color. Only Lin Ke was left. "How dare you plot against me?" Sithorn was furious, and the power to distort reality exploded. The power of a primitive ancient god cannot be underestimated. Swish! A large number of golden threads appeared out of thin air, binding Sithorn tightly. Lin Ke stepped forward and pressed Sithorn's forehead. Sithorn's billions of years of memory were read and absorbed by him in less than 3 minutes. Lin Ke's eyes were clear. It turned out that Sithorn had seen the appearance of Chaos Force in the early years. No wonder he was able to develop origin magic power. "Wanda, you absorb his origin magic power." Lin Ke looked at Wanda. Wanda nodded and stepped forward with a determined look in her eyes. Sithorn's pupils trembled. "What the hell are you?" To be honest, Sithorn still can't believe that he was caught. Facing Lin Ke, he seemed to be facing some kind of high-dimensional creature. The dignified god of the underworld is like a joke. Seeing Wanda stepping in, Sithorn broke down and cried, "Please don't kill me. I am willing to be a magic servant, and I am willing to sign a contract." He's not one of those hell lords. His body represents all his powers, and when he dies, he is really dead. Hela joked, "Are you also afraid of death?" Lin Ke's expression was not as relaxed as Hela's. Because of this moment, accidents are often the most prone to occur. The 5 creation gods often like to disrupt the situation at such times. Chapter 70. Fortunately, what Lin Ke was worried about did not happen. Sithorn walked very uneasy, but it was indeed dead. "How does it feel?" Lin Ke asked quickly. "The energy is kind of out of control." Wanda frowned, her energy fluctuating. "Sithorn's accumulation is too huge. It doesn't mean that you can absorb it, and you can absorb it. Although Wanda and Sithorn are a system, after all, the accumulation is too little. If Lin Ke hadn't upgraded her dimension last time, she might have gone crazy by now." "This is normal." Lin Ke chuckled and nodded slightly. After speaking, he put his palm on Wanda's forehead. Wanda instantly learns of Sithorn's knowledge of the origin magic power. Immediately she closed her eyes. After a few breaths, the aura calmed down. The energy in the body is continuously refined. Wanda is on the path of magic. It is very difficult to sublimate the source of life, Lin Ke secretly thought. At this moment, Hela embraced Lin Ke's arm and opened and closed her thin lips. "Where's mine?" She stared at Lin Ke. "I can't benefit from being so busy, can I?" Seeing Wanda getting stronger, she became a little jealous. "How about putting hell in your hands?" Lin Ke stroked Hela's long hair and said in preparation, "The territory of hell is vast, with countless dimensions within and without." Lin Ke felt a little bit reluctant to put it aside like this, but he can't use the abilities of other demons. He can use Phoenix Force now, and there is no need to use the Devil's 350. Real. Hela is like a squishy Persian cat, rubbing against Lin Ke. "Did I lie to you?" Lin Ke shrugged. Hela was ecstatic when she got the exact answer, and her heart stirred up waves. Sure enough, he loves me. Seeing her like this, Lin Ke shook his head. Why are these people so keen on gaining external power? And if they don't improve their own essence, it's just empty talk in the end. After that, I have to mention Hela, including Wanda. Wanda has that much of a magical base, and it's best to imprint herself in multiple sources. In this way, the destructive power is no worse than that of the creation gods, and it can still exist forever, immortal and immortal. In other words, many Marvel superheroes have the ability to obtain immortality, but they all died over time. Lin Ke would not believe that there was no goddess of death. The 5 creation brothers and sisters have basically arranged everything except your birth, your living environment, what you will do in the future, and where you will die. Sure enough, only by being detached all the time can one obtain real freedom. Just when Lin Ke was thinking wildly, outside the imagination space, a group of stalwart existences came. These existences just set foot on the plane of reality, the space begins to distort, and the basic structure collapses. Emperor Weishan came. Here comes Mephisto. Here come the 8 Mephistos. 10 magical entities also came. Even the ruler of the purple dimension, Akamon, who has never really wanted to participate in the battle of the 7 domains, also came. Hell exploded. All the giants in the magic field were alarmed. They learned the information of the explosion through their own means. Phoenix Force shattered the throne of hell. This is intolerable to them. The theme of the Battle of the 7 Realms is for the throne of heaven, but the throne of hell is also an appetizer. How can it be said that it will be destroyed? When they came here and found the throne of hell intact, they were a little confused. Didn't you say that the throne of hell was blown up? How is this going? A boy with a hood asked in a deep voice. Let me check it out. One of Emperor Weishan opened his mouth and used a language magic. Amidst the steaming white mist, a chair stood quietly. Other than that, it's gone. Emperor Weishan frowned. Akamon laughed and said, It seems that your magic has failed. Weishandi shook his head and said, It is certain that the Phoenix Force collided with the throne of hell. It can't be for no reason. Then there is only one possibility. Someone manipulated the Phoenix Force and caused an explosion on their own initiative. Then the Phoenix Spirit covered up that existence. Weishandi did not know the only gold content of infinite possibilities to integrate. It is impossible to detect Lin Ke's past and future with magic, including those around him. The Golden Superman Cultivation Method, with the supreme attitude that Lin Ke wants most, helps him continue to nirvana, and it involves all aspects. To prevent accidents, shall we move the throne of purgatory? Illusion Lord Icon said. He was afraid that something might happen to the throne of purgatory. He has been staring at this barren and villainous land of hell for a long time, always wanting to sit on the throne of purgatory. It's a pity that the other 7 Mephistos are also staring at him very hard, so he hasn't found any opportunities. Tesseract nodded, expressing approval and said, Why don't you just move back to my crimson heaven? I have the confidence to resist the host of the Phoenix Force there. What he said was definitely reasonable. It made all the Mephisto laugh out loud. Then why not move back to the purple dimension? My bottomless abyss is missing a chair. Hee. The explosion made many demons homeless, and Six Fingers Demon Realm is willing to accept those refugees, including the throne of hell. Just when the Mephistos were arguing, Mephisto, who had been silent all this time, spoke up. The throne of purgatory is the original creation of hell. You cannot move it away. It's not as good as this. Whoever among us can move the throne of purgatory, the throne of purgatory will belong to him. How? Mephisto has always been known for its tricks in multiple dimensions, but his proposal this time is very fair. After discussing for a while, the gods and demons agreed. They are all very confident in their own strength. Then, they started arguing about who was the first. At this time, Mephisto spoke again. I think the 8 Mephistos came from afar and should be ranked first. You magical entities, who also came from afar, should be ranked second. Our demons are ranked third. With this mouthful, he was satisfied with the strength of the 2 strongest parties. The 8 Mephistos are the strongest of the 3 groups. Magical entity number 2. Advertisement. Demon Lord third. The demons gnash their teeth at Mephisto. Mephisto doesn't care. Everyone does things according to his rules, so he also has a certain right to speak. In order to prevent further quarrels, he first selected Tesseract to play. Tesseract is faintly the most powerful of the 8 Mephistos. Seeing Tesseract stepping forward, Mephisto sneered inwardly. It is impossible for these outsiders to move the throne of hell. That would be the equivalent of moving the whole hell. What outsiders cannot do, locals can do. He has already controlled the right to play first, and he will be the first when it is the Demon Q's next turn. Tesseract grinned grimly, placing his hands on the edge of the throne. All the Mephistos looked tense. Tesseract started using it. Then, he began to mobilize the power of the Crimson Universe. Instantly, the dimension trembled. Get up, get up. Tesseract was extremely excited. Mephisto looked serious. Damn, you won't steal chickens and lose money. Fatty Red, what are you doing? A young figure suddenly sat on a chair. Who is this? The demon's Mephisto was extremely surprised. Tesseract looked down at Lin Ke and didn't let go. He recognized Lin Ke. It's just that, at present, it is more practical to move the throne of hell than to make a profit, or to combine horizontally and vertically. However, he found out as soon as he tried it. The chair in front of him remained motionless. 100 times heavier than before, 1,000 times. Go away. Tesseract roared. Lin Ke raised his eyebrows. Tesseract is the first Mephisto in the Marvel multi-universe, can ignore the power of infinite gems, and can also resist part of the Phoenix Force. But should I be afraid of him? Not at all. A stream of flames appeared above Lin Ke's hand. Tesseract was so frightened that he immediately backed away. Zero. The Mephistos exclaimed, "This is Phoenix Force. You are the Phoenix Force host. You caused the Big Bang hell." Lin Ke sat leisurely on the throne, and when they had finished talking, he nodded and said, "Well, you are right. I did it all." Nightmare Rage said, "B asterisk 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 D. Do you know what you did? Because of the explosion you caused, half of my subjects died." Mephisto also said at this time, "Did you cause the mutation of the demons in the multivariate? Did you use the power of the throne? Let's talk about who was most affected by the previous explosion. That is undoubtedly their group of Hell Lords." Lin Ke didn't answer, stood up, glanced at the Mephisto present, and said with a smile on his lips, "I just want to ask you a question. Please answer carefully. Now, I want to be the master of the magic field. Which one of you agrees and who opposes?" As soon as the words came out, bursts of laughter came from the mouths of the gods. "Arrogant boy, you don't really think Phoenix Force is invincible? I have killed more than one Phoenix Force host. Is this a joke you told? This group of Dimension Mephistos have been fighting for an unknown number of years, and now a third party jumps out and says they want to win the laurels. They just want to ask you one thing. Who are you? Do you know that the sky is high and the earth is thick? I knew it was the result." Lin Ke shook his head indifferently. The almighty Phoenix Force is pouring out. The three most vicious existences ignited directly. "Bold. How dare you do it first? Watch me crush you to death." Instant. The overwhelming attack hit Lin Ke. Overreach. Lin Ke stared, and the power of the soul that wiped out everything was released suddenly, and all the attacks were scattered. The Mephistos vomited blood and backed away from the shock. "If that's the case, then you all will die here." Red gold flames evaporated from Lin Ke's body, and his eyes turned into pure white. He wants to kill all these magic almighty in one fell swoop. This moment, all the Mephistos panicked and terrified. Tesseract exclaimed in shock, "Damn it! This is the complete Phoenix Force." With that said, he was about to return to the Crimson Universe. But at the moment, flames appeared in the void. "All space means are blocked. You can't do this. We are dead, and the magic field will collapse." Akamon shouted. "Forest." Ku shook his head indifferently. "The magic field is broken, and he rebuilds it. Anyway, all he wants is the throne of Tion 0.3. Seeing that Lin Ke was about to make a move, Emperor Weishan looked up to the sky and shouted, "The Court of Life! I request the Court of Life to rule." Instantly, the world was silent. Everyone came to an unknown area in an instant. A huge amounts of huge golden humanoid entity towers in the space ahead. He has three faces, representing justice, need, and revenge. There is also a face, blank, for self-examination. It is the Court of Life. Emperor Weishan. The Life Tribunal looked at Emperor Weishan. Emperor Weishan looked directly at the Court of Life and complained, "I request you to adjudicate this battle of the 7 realms. There's an intervener between us. He shouldn't have joined this war." The Life Tribunal listened and looked at Lin Ke. Lin Ke is also watching the Life Court. The Life Tribunal is not bound by emotions and axioms. As long as the incident does not involve a threat to the universe originally, he will not care about it. However, once a major event that threatens the universe occurs, the degree of danger, the Life Court may not be able to control it. There is a saying among Marvel fans in previous lives: trifles die and create the gods. The Court of Life and Death. It's too late. For words can basically be regarded as the epitaph of the court. The matter in front of me is indeed not small, and the complete Phoenix Force is just enough to PK a wave of Life Court, plus my original strength. Lin Ke felt more and more weird in his heart. Why does this Life Court look like death? Chapter 71. Right. There's an intervention among us. This guy relies on Phoenix Force and wants to kill us all. My God, if we all die, it will definitely cause a catastrophe in the magic field. The court, can you imagine a day when all the magic in the multi-universe fails? Immediately, Lin Ke was pointed at. Mephistos are like big babies who have found their parents one by one. Do you have anything to say? The Life Court said lightly. I am not an intervener. The battle of the 7 realms, others can participate. Why can't I participate? Lin Ke clapped his hands. But you use Phoenix Force. We all use magic. This is a battle between us magicians. Nightmare was furious, and scared, and angry. Court, you must punish him. He has seriously affected the balance of the magic world. Nightmare cried to the court. Lin Ke defended. I also have magic. Well, it's still primitive magic. As he spoke, a wave of light appeared in his hand. Nightmare cowered behind Mephisto in terror. Mephisto frowned and quickly took a few steps away from Lin Ke. How many great powers does this monster have? Lin Ke continued. Everyone is a magician. Why can't I participate in the Battle of Or? Chimai Hue Wu. Don't take me to Kinjianmen, right? After all, his magic is more orthodox. The Life Tribunal looked at Emperor Weishan. Emperor Weishan was a little flustered and said anxiously, but he wants to kill all of us. The Life Tribunal stared. But you don't accept me, that's all I can do. Lin Ke continued to spread his hands and said, the 0-3 Battle of the Seven Realms is to choose the strongest magician, am I not? I'm telling you quietly, I'm Phoenix Force Integrate Magic, invincible. All the gods and demons almost vomited blood. What kind of magic are you? The magic energy of a drop of water is Phoenix Force behind it, right? Tesseract said angrily. No, you are not a member of our magic field at all, unless you don't use Phoenix Force, otherwise we will not accept you. The throne of the future will not recognize you. Lin Ke scratched his face. Look childish, his face is red with sauce. That is to say, I don't need Phoenix Force to subdue you. I am the new master of magic, right? Lin Ke said with a smile on the corner of his mouth. Tesseract snorted heavily. Without Phoenix Force, Lin Ke should be an ordinary multifaceted powerhouse, and the one with no domains. I can definitely crush him. The Life Tribunal looked at Emperor Weishan. After hesitating for a moment, Emperor Weishan nodded. All right, the Battle of the Seven Realms continues. Lifting the golden arms of the Life Tribunal, everyone came to a plain full of magical energy. The Life Tribunal said, you guys decide the outcome here, and I will rule the whole process until you choose the Master of Magic. According to everyone's performance, he chose to let everyone use their own force to solve the problem. This will not only solve the long-standing disputes in the magic world, it can also meet everyone's wishes. All the Mephistas glanced at each other, and the weakest, self-conscious Mephistas withdrew. The rest of the Mephistas grinned and looked at Lin Ke together. Nightmare laughed and said, the court didn't say that we can't join forces. The Life Tribunal looked at Lin Ke and asked, is this result in line with your wishes? Lin Ke listened, grinned and said, yes. At this time, Akamon said, why don't you join the purple dimension? I will cover you. A magical entity shouted sharply, Akamon, what are you talking nonsense? Do you want to be a traitor again? Akamon's behavior of turning faces faster than turning pages is no different from backstabbing. Seeing that the Mephistas were about to strife, Tesseract yelled angrily, enough! Let me kill this kid, and you watch from the sidelines. The Mephistas fell silent. Tesseract walked towards Lin Ke. You are beyond my expectation. I just wanted you to be a fish, but I didn't expect you to be a fisherman. Lin Ke looked at Tesseract, who was walking step by step, still with a relaxed smile on his face. However, when Tesseract walked in and his aura climbed to the extreme, Lin Ke suddenly said, wait for me, I'll be right back. After speaking, he disappeared directly. Tesseract's destructive aura suddenly stagnated. The line of sight looked at every micromolecule in every dimension, but still did not find Lin Ke, and suddenly became furious. He looked towards the Court of Life and insisted, what about others? The Life Tribunal didn't care about his attitude, and just said flatly, he's still here. Next, each Mephista showed their abilities, but Lin Ke was not found. Without Lin Ke, they didn't dare to fight, and they were numb all of a sudden. Quantum Realm. Lin Ke rushed up at a speed hundreds of times faster than the speed of light. He continued to go deeper, and after an unknown period of time, he suddenly had a feeling of getting lost. Just then, you went deep into the Quantum Realm, promoted to the second control sequence, and obtained Supernatural Power Quantum Detonation. Supernatural Quantum Detonation. Detonate bugs and form a superconceptual quantum explosion. It should be pretty sure. Lin Ke nodded secretly, looked deeper into the distance, and decisively disappeared into the quantum realm. When Lin Ke returned to reality, the Mephistas were already showing signs of civil strife. It's just that this kind of civil strife disappeared with the arrival of Lin Ke. The enemy is right in front of us, and civil strife is enough. You mouse, you are finally willing to come out. Tesseract pointed at Lin Ke, behaving angrily. I never hide. You can't find it yourself. Lin Ke shook his head. Immediately, he grinned, stared at Tesseract with interest and said, Tesseract, are you sure you want to fight with me? Don't regret it? He wanted to change his target to make an example to others. It's not easy for Tesseract to grow up to such a big head. Stop talking nonsense. Die for me. Tesseract held back his anger, didn't compare at all, and with the blessing of the Crimson Universe, he grabbed Lin Ke. Seeing this, Lin Ke raised his fist with the same faint smile. The next moment, the fist collided with Tesseract's palm. Tesseract turned into a faint blank, as if it had been erased by an eraser. After a few microseconds, this faint white space also disappeared. At the same time, the Crimson Universe on the other side, all quanta explode in an instant. What kind of chain reaction, what speed of light, in front of this explosion speed, are not worth mentioning. Quantum entanglement generally means that all quanta explode at the same time. The endless dimensions in the Crimson Universe are completely destroyed at this moment. A square meter of real space, at this moment, bursts out energy no less than a neutron star. The entire Crimson Universe, it exploded. And the energy generated by the explosion can completely destroy 1/10 of Marvel's super-large multi-universe. The gods felt something, and the hidden consciousness came to the Crimson Universe. Just for a moment, the creation-like terrifying energy annihilated their consciousness, and even the soul itself was attacked by violent energy. There were screams everywhere. Lin Ke put his hands on his hips and smiled lightly. To be honest, he was also a little surprised by the power of the explosion. This Crimson Universe is really huge enough, almost catching up with a complete multi-universe. Clear. At this moment, the Life Tribunal raised its arms, its eyes glowing brightly. The explosion produced by the Crimson Universe evaporated directly at this moment. The Life Tribunal prevented the impact of the blast. Lin Ke frowned. Life Court, sure enough. He resisted the strange thoughts, looked at the other Mephistas, and said with a smile, Who is next? All the Mephistas stayed away, looking at Lin Ke in horror, trembling. He still doesn't seem to be using magic. Mephisto cried out in his heart. However, he dared not speak. The rest did not dare to speak. Whoever provokes Lin Ke at this time is completely stupid. Even if they become new super multidiversity gods, they are not sure that they will agree to Lin Ke. This is a complete monster. How did the rider come into being? Which universe can make such a god in a god born? Seeing Mephisto's timid look, Lin Ke bared his teeth in displeasure. 870 Why not force Lili? He said angrily. Are you going to accept it or not? If you don't accept it, give me a punch. Let's keep fighting. When he got angry, all the Mephistas trembled and trembled more and more. Convinced. Please accept the supernatural powers. Please don't kill me. The Master of Magic is the new Master of Magic. The source of white magic is willing to hand over to you. In the future, the Nightmare Dimension will absolutely obey your orders. At this moment, no Mephisto dares to remain silent. They were afraid that Lin Ke's fist would land on them if they were too late to speak. See Master of Magic. Nightmare knelt down directly. Doggin raises soft bones. The other Mephistas cursed inwardly and also knelt down. Lin Ke clasped his hands together, narrowed his eyes slightly, and felt joyful. When a person reaches a certain level, that's how it is. Ordinary people licking has no effect. It takes those so-called big guys to lick to feel it. Otherwise, why are celebrities so expensive as escorts? There are no bricks. Lin Ke was satisfied with huge amounts of psychologically, laughed happily and said, Call me Supreme Superman from now on. This can be regarded as his complete name for himself. Yes, Supreme Superman. I, Mephisto, must engrave this name in my soul. Your Majesty, please tell me how I came up with this title, because it really shines brighter than the sun. The Mephistas continued to lick. The breath is the decree. That's probably what it means. Seeing all the Mephistas flattering Lin Ke, the Life Tribunal suddenly thought of an existence with his hands on his hips. Transcendent. Perhaps the transcendence can be handed over to this person. These two people gave him a strong feeling of congeniality. It can be operated. The Life Tribunal thought to himself. Originally, he wanted to die in the hands of the Transcendent, so that the Transcendent could have a good time. But if Lin Ke is here, maybe he doesn't need to do that, and he can invite that old man. Back in Chapter 72. Court, can I be recognized as the Master of Magic now? Lin Ke looked towards the Life Court. Life Tribunal blinked and nodded. Then, time and space changed, and everyone appeared in the physical universe. The life court left. The throne of heaven appears. The body of the chair is silver and white, shining with strange brilliance, as if painted with the colors of endless sky. Lin Ke sat down without hesitation. In an instant, his senses extended to all areas of magic. Next, as long as he passes through the magic field and engraves his own law on the super-large multi-universe, then he will become a new god of creation. That's right. It is the god of creation. The realm of magic was born with the universe. It is the same as the concepts of matter, space, and time. It's just that there has been a lack of a master. I will be. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, when Lin Ke was about to read out the 4 functions of life, hope, strength, and truth, the world suddenly darkened. You can't do that. For existences suddenly appeared in the space ahead. It is the 4 abstract gods of death, eternity, infinity, and annihilation. For their own rights, they had to come out. The real creator gods have always been only 4 of them. Galactus is nothing more than a survivor from the previous universe. Definitely, it is also very powerful. You want to stop me from preaching? Lin Ke sat on the throne of the sky and said calmly. The appearance of these 4 gods was within his expectations. Eternity said, "We have no intention of being your enemy." Annihilation said, "If you choose to become the god of creation, the potential of the universe will be occupied by you. Please choose carefully." Unlimited said, "If your authority is related to space, I will not agree." Death said, "You first talk about what authority you want to gain." Lin Ke touched his chin and said, "Life, hope, truth, power." There was silence. The 4 gods haven't said anything yet. Emperor Weishan reminded, "This is absolutely impossible. Even if these 4 creators exist, they only symbolize one kind of thing. Eternity represents the totality of time. Infinity represents the totality of space. Annihilation represents the totality of nothingness. Death represents the totality of the soul." Death caressed his black lips and said with a smile, "The magic field cannot support your needs." Infinitely said indifferently, "The power of life cannot be obtained by the creator god. The real master of power is in your body. Phoenix force is the origin of life. You can only choose one concept, or the body will collapse." Eternal said, "Is that so?" Lin Ke stroked his chin and became thoughtful. At this time, Annihilation said, "Old Fifth, if you want to be born, you must at least get our approval. We have 4 trials." Lin Ke paused with the hand touching his chin, raised his head and said, "Why should I listen to you?" The 4 creation gods were taken aback. Obviously, this was not expected to happen. "Get your approval? Don't you look down on Phoenix Force too much?" A trace of unruly and sneer flashed in Lin Ke's eyes. What schemes are they trying to disqualify him from becoming a god? Don't even think about it. The 4 gods were silent. They definitely dare not underestimate Phoenix Force, especially the full Phoenix Force. In fact, if it weren't for the sake of the Phoenix Force, they would have to make troubles high and low, and would not give Lin Ke any chance to become a god. "I become the new god of creation. I don't need your consent." Lin Ke continued, "Also, I need at least 2 conceptual authorities. Otherwise, what is the difference with you?" Lin Ke thought so from the bottom of his heart. Before the Phoenix Force and the Golden Superman practice method, he felt that he could be satisfied by accumulating superdiversity. But with the first 2, naturally you won't think so. "I used to want to eat peaches, but now I want to eat 2, or even a basket." Definitely, too much authority is not good either. Lin Ke has a deep understanding of this. With 4 authorities, there are too many things to measure. So 2 is fine. Death coquettishly smiled and said, "In this case, then you can do it." But the magic field exploded. "Don't blame us for not reminding you." Eternal said helplessly, "It's another crisis. The magic field is really exploding, and it will definitely be the 4 siblings to clean up the mess." Lin Ke smiled. He is not a reckless man. How could he be King Fan? In fact, what he wanted was to catch one of the 4 creation gods to study. But there is no rush. At least prepare a container or something. Definitely, it would be even better if they could cooperate. Now he has quite a lot of chips. I believe there is still something to talk about. Death seems to like making deals. The 4 gods of creation had no idea what kind of idea Lin Ke was playing. Death felt an inexplicable chill and looked at Lin Ke in a strange way. "How do you feel like you're being watched? You don't seem to be planning to become a god right now?" Seeing that Lin Ke didn't respond for a long time, Wu Wu seemed to have discovered something and asked, "Well, as I said, at least 2 authorities are required." Lin Ke chuckled lightly. He didn't doubt that he could do it. Just give him enough time. Proving the Tao is super diverse. After all, it is a matter of heaven and earth. It's impossible. Annihilation shook his head, flatly denying it. Originally, Lin Ke's behavior belonged to the creator god who was born the day after tomorrow, and he wanted to take two powers at once. Is he really in charge of the multi-universe? At this moment, a golden stalwart figure appeared here. It is the court of life. Time seemed to stop. Except for Lin Ke, only eternity that controls time has no self-awareness. I can help you. The life tribunal looked at Lin Ke and said solemnly. Eternal was surprised, but didn't interrupt. Then what's the price? Lin Ke stared at the life court and asked calmly. There is no free lunch in this world. The life court should and will not do the same thing as that kind of investment. I need your help to take care of a person. At least don't let him ruin the multi-universe, if possible. Let him live in the universe, then I will satisfy you. 17. The life court remotely sensed a big boy from a certain universe, feeling very helpless in his heart. At the same time, there is also a bit of extravagance. The transcendent Protoss exists at the same level as OAA. If they can keep their original power in the Marvel Universe, hope Lin Ke can do it. After all, Lin Ke's unexpectedness is also full for him. Maybe he can really collide with the transcendent to create some sparks. After hearing the conditions of the life tribunal, Lin Ke had a guess in his heart, suppressed the strange feeling, nodded and said, yes, call eternity. Suddenly let out a long breath of life. In an instant, the infinite dimensions in his body restarted and were destroyed infinitely. Lin Ke and the life court ignored him. After getting Lin Ke's reply, the ecological court left. Time returned to normal. Lin Ke waved his hand, sent those Mephistas away, and then began to gather power. Eternity, what just happened? Death felt a little change in eternity and asked. Infinity and Annihilation also looked towards eternity. Obviously, they all noticed something. No, nothing happened. Regarding the conversation between the life tribunal and Lin Ke, Eternal had nothing to say, and the doctor denied it. The four great gods fell silent and began to have a deeper conversation. At this moment, the entire magic dimension emits light. This light illuminates the entire Marvel multi-universe. Regardless of the numbered universe, at the moment is lit up with a faint blue light. He understood the use of the throne of heaven so quickly. Unlimited complexion changed slightly. There is a huge amount of magical knowledge in the throne of heaven, which is inexhaustible. The magic of becoming a creator god is part of it. Annihilation clenched his fist slightly. Among the four gods, he is the strongest. Now this one is the strongest. Maybe it needs to be replaced. Lin Ke's potential is so great that even he is a little afraid. I don't know what authority he wants to gather, said with an infinite sigh. Hope not to overlap with the authority of their four siblings. Otherwise, it will be really troublesome. If Lin Ke chooses the power of space, then her current power may be directly drawn in half. Asterisk. After the accumulation was completed, Lin Ke activated the magic power. The endless dimensions around his body were shattered, and the 10 dimensions collapsed. In an instant, his whole body seemed to be infinitely stretched and diluted, and he entered every dimension point in the Marvel Universe. Energy, matter, time, everywhere has him. In the end, everything in Lin Ke shrank suddenly, bursting into a burst of divine light. At this moment, he became an abstract god. Strength. Lin Ke clenched his fist. Now, he's the equivalent of the entire Marvel multi-universe combined. Once again, God's offering. Lin Ke drank low, cracks appeared in the whole body of the god, and he wanted to dilute himself again. What does he want? Death was shocked by Lin Ke's strength. Lin Ke became an abstract god of power. The energy levels contained in it made her feel terrified, as if she was facing a radiant black hole of power. However, Lin Ke didn't seem to want to stop there. It is impossible for him to obtain a second authority. With his current size, it is impossible to disperse himself. Seeing Lin Ke's thoughts infinitely, he shook his head and said, the volume of abstract gods is endless, increasing every moment. In this case, Lin Ke wants to copy the previous operation, which is tantamount to nonsense. Crack, crack. Just when the four gods thought it was impossible, Lin Ke's body was shattered again. Impossible! Annihilation exclaimed. It is impossible for an abstract god to collapse, even if it is voluntary, unless it has the power of the almighty level, to get Li Zhao. Is the Phoenix Spirit helping him? But the Phoenix Spirit should not have such a subjective consciousness. Stop him. Hostility welled up in Infinity's eyes. Eternal shook his head and said, "It's too late." The words fell. Lin Ke's body shattered apart. This time, last time was different. His body shattered into diamond-shaped pieces, like a broken mirror. Every ray of light refracted by the mirror is engraved with infinite power. "This is our body?" Death frowned and guessed. This scene was something that the four great gods had never seen before. Is the ontology of abstract gods the same thing as the crystallization of concepts? Death irresistibly gave birth to an idea. What would happen if a creator god died? Immediately, she shook her head to dispel the idea, which was too crazy to be carried out. Otherwise, it will be a great crisis among the creation gods. But what if it does succeed? All other creation gods died. When the time comes, will he be promoted? Suddenly, countless brilliance representing truth flickered on the diamond-shaped mirror, like countless notes that would never go out. The four gods felt that the concept representing reality in the universe was taken away. Reality has a source and entity. My name, Supreme. When the pieces were closed, Lin Ke appeared, with a smile on his face, and his appearance was as usual. There are no fancy dimensions or dimensions on the body surface. It is ordinary. Chapter 73. Celebrate. Death congratulated. The deal is done. It's useless to think too much. Annihilation didn't speak, and sunshine disappeared into this space. This old man, Lin Ke grinned and said, "I still want to treat everyone to a meal." Breaking through the ultra-diverse, he is in a good mood. It can be said that everything is pleasing to the eye. Old 5, whisper forever. It seems to have a good intention. Congratulations on becoming one of us. Unlimited attitude is also good. Now, there are 5 creator gods. At the very least, it will be easier to face any crisis in the future. Moreover, Lin is undoubtedly the strongest among them. There is no doubt about this. A power authority can represent everything. And there is also a real authority, which is equivalent to strengthening from strength to strength. It's not easy to get to this point. Lin Ke sighed with a smile. I don't see it at all. Death laughed. The 4 gods came to the outer dimension while talking and laughing. With a wave of Lin Ke's hand, Apollo entered his pocket universe. It was he who led the other 3 gods over. I said, I want to treat you to dinner. In the dark space, there are round tables and 6 seats. On 2 of the seats, sit Tian and Hela. Don't worry, it's all mine. Lin Ke smiled, chose a seat and sat down. The 3 gods looked at each other and sat down respectively. Lin Ke obviously has something to talk about, and it should matter. After Death took his seat, he looked at Hela and smiled. Hela's size is like a giant and a baby in front of her, but it is Lin Ke's person, so she has to pay more attention to it. You are all ontology? Wanda stood in awe. As long as the 4 great creation gods are worthy of the stage, they will never have heard of them, and their bodies are almost cynical. Lin Ke said with a smile, now they are all my brothers and sisters. Wanda, I have become a god of creation. This news directly shocked the 2 women to 0-10 in a daze. Wanda looked in disbelief, stumbled and said, Lin Ke, have you really succeeded? Pocket space is an extremely personal place, not in the original world of the Marvel multi-universe. So the 2 women did not know the news of Lin Ke's preaching. Lin Ke nodded and said with a smile, have I ever failed? I am now the god of creation, supreme. Wanda breathed a sigh of relief and patted her chest. The path of becoming a creator god is risky. Now that Lin Ke is successful, it means that the risk is lifted. Hela doesn't know what's risky or not. If she had Lin Ke's strength, she would do the same thing as Lin Ke. Although she has no perception of how high Lin Ke's realm is, but just thinking about it, she feels weak all over. This is infinity, this is eternity, and this is death. Lin Ke just started to introduce. Although he is strong, it does not mean that he wants to be an independent husband. These 3 creation gods are still very powerful. Hello, Sorcerer Supreme. Hela of the underworld. The 3 gods are regarded as knowing 2 people. In the future, if we meet in diversity, we might even help each other out. After everyone got to know each other, tableware appeared on Lin Ke Island. The 3 gods were immediately attracted attention. To eat, of course there must be food. I just don't know what food Lin Ke will come up with. I don't know if the 3 of you have any ideas about the next promotion, Lin Ke asked with a smile. The hearts of the 3 creator gods froze. Are you talking about such a big thing? Would this be too straightforward? You 3 don't need to worry about it. Surpassing upward is something that all life instinctively desires. I believe the 3 of you have also considered this aspect. It's just that you seem to have never succeeded. Lin Ke's words were like whispers of a devil. The original desires of the three creator gods were guided one after another. Death laughed and said, "Is there any good way for you to say that? You know, at the level of Chuang Shishan, if you want to improve again, the difficulty is no less than that of an ordinary, adept, person who suddenly metamorphoses to a super multivariate powerhouse. If the Chuangshi god wants to ascend, he will involve the almighty universe. The omnipotent universe is not a good place. Outside, they don't want to go. Inside, they have tried countless methods, but none of them worked. There is one." Lin Ke nodded. In an instant, 5 eyes stared at Lin Ke in unison. Naturally, Wanda and Hela are also included. "Say it." Eternal heard the words, the most excited. As the sum of all the timelines, Marvel has long been tired of him. Its own strength has been rising along with the expansion of Marvel's diversity. But this is always working for the boss, and there will be no essential breakthrough in itself. Put it simply, he doesn't want to be an administrator anymore. He wants to be the boss. Hee. Lin Ke chuckled and said, "We will never be able to break through based on our own nature alone. But why don't we combine our strengths together? As long as we combine our forces, we will reproduce the words of creation." You will definitely say, "What's the use of the combined power and it's not your own?" Since this is the case, why don't we exchange a part of the source? As long as we have the complete power of creation and open up a world in the almighty universe, we will naturally be promoted to the almighty domain. I believe that with the accumulation of everyone, it will not be difficult to open up a primitive universe. At that time, we won't talk about becoming the master of the omnipotent universe, but becoming an ancestor god like Nemesis. There is absolutely no problem. Even, we can be bolder and let the 5 universes integrate and form an alliance. We will be invincible. Lin Ke made big cakes one by one, painting the 3 gods dazed. Death was heartbroken, but still shook his head and said, "No way. LOA won't let us leave this universe." Infinity's eyes flickered, and he nodded and said, "If we leave, this universe will be disordered, and OAA will definitely deprive us of our powers." Eternal silence did not speak. These 3 are all masters who don't see the rabbit and don't scatter the eagle. Before Lin Ke came up with a definite and feasible plan, they would not agree. Lin Ke saw this, and there was a hint of sophistication in his eyes, and he said with a smile, "It seems that you are really afraid of OAA." First he made a provocative sentence, and then he continued, "Do you know why I was promoted so quickly?" In an instant, everyone's eyes lit up. Lin Ke seems to have little respect for the OA. Could it be that, seeing this, Lin Ke smiled with satisfaction in his heart, nodded and said, "You guessed it right, I met an existence stronger than OAA. Regardless of whether the main watcher is stronger than OAA, but so to speak, there is no problem with keeping it." "Impossible." Immediately, Death screamed. She was startled. "What is impossible?" Lin Ke snorted coldly. "Otherwise, why do you think I'm so strong? This is a gift from that adult. You can take a look." With that said, Lin Ke took out a cloud of heavenly blood. The laughing bat has traded with him more than once. "Just a little scratch." Lin Ke laughed. "All the stories that happened in DC are a spot on the body of the main monitor. Saying that the blood of the sky is fur, there is no problem." The 3 of Eternal suddenly became short of breath. They could tell at a glance that it was the blood of a certain creature. The mystery in it, even with their personalities, is still somewhat difficult to penetrate. Moreover, the law and the light contained in it are also very unknown, completely like a new system different from the current universe. "How? Would you like to become the ancestor god with me?" Just when the 3 gods were fascinated, Lin Ke put away the blood and said with a smile, "Also, we didn't say that we must be enemies with OAA. We can cultivate a successor before we leave. In this way, there is both face and face, and OAA will agree, and maybe it will help us in turn." There was deathly silence. Hela glanced at Lin Ke quite unexpectedly, with a dangerous aura of joy jumping in her eyes. "This Min's day is charming. Wanda's eyes are dim. How did I never realize that Lin Ke is so eloquent? Humph, it seems that I have been tricked by him all along." Thinking of so many girls surrounding Lin Ke, Wanda suddenly felt that Lin Ke's conscience was very bad. "What do you guys think?" Eternal opened his mouth, and his voice was a bit stagnant. Lin Ke said it nicely. "But they all know that this is calculated on OA's head. However, the shameful thing is that knowing this, he is still tempted. Supreme. You are very attractive," Death spoke, seeming to praise Lin Ke's confident appearance, which attracted her very much. "Supreme. If you have anything to do, just tell me quickly. pursing lips infinitely. The words are very ambiguous. It's not even related to the previous topic at all. But Lin Ke smiled. He raised his hand and grabbed it, and a crystal appeared. This is the heart of truth, my most original calendar. Lin Ke didn't lie. This is indeed his most original strength, the most original power of authority. He wouldn't be so stupid as to take out the source of his own life. The source of power is too concentrated, and I can't get it out for the time being. Lin Ke explained that he divided the heart of truth into 4 pieces, kept the largest piece for himself, and put the remaining 3 pieces on the dinner plate of the 3 creator gods. The 3 gods of creation picked up the crystal, pondered it carefully, and confirmed that this is the core of the real authority. Each piece has 1/7 the weight of a true heart. Cruel enough. A trace of madness flickered in Death's eyes. He gritted his teeth, took out the death crown, and snapped off 3 of its horns. Each corner is equivalent to 1/10 of her origin. Then, Infinity took out an orange-yellow gemstone, took out 3/10 of the power crystals, and divided them into giant ministers. Finally, it was Eternity's turn. Eternal hesitation for a long time, under the attention of everyone, sighed, and condensed 3 original spheres. The 4 tacitly took away the power of the other 3 beings. As if nothing happened. Unfortunately, annihilation did not come. Lin Ke said with a smile, and then said, I suggest that you use the 4 forces to condense a new body. After the new body matures, it will go to the almighty universe, and the old body can stay here as a puppet. The 3 gods are clear, and their expressions are different. Obviously, they also have their own calculations. Friendship forever. Lin Ke raised his wineglass. The wine in the wineglass is the common wine in the earth. The 4 drank a cup. Subsequently, the dead 3 left. Perhaps it is not appropriate to use people to describe them, but people can actually be used to describe all life with independent will. Looking at the void ahead, Lin Ke's eyes wandered. After pondering for a while, he stood up and said, Let's go. It's time to go home. By the way, don't talk about today's affairs. 11 Wanda rolled her eyes. I'm not stupid. Hela smiled with her arms akimbo. Is this a request? Then I'll keep it a secret for you. Lin Ke trusted her so much, so she naturally wouldn't spread the word about it. No matter what the 2 say, it is also an integrated relationship. Earth. Lin Ke building. Cindy and Jessica are being pestered by a jerk. That be ************ D was dressed in white, with a sunny smile, like a big boy. But the question asked was very inconsequential. Hey, do you know what shit smells like? Do you know what a smell is? What does the taste feel like? Can you tell me why people wear clothes? The man in white dodged back and forth, 1 second behind Cindy, and the next second he was in front of Jessica. The eyes are innocent and there is a kind of clear stupidity. Chapter 74. Who are you? Cindy stopped attacking, gasping for breath. The man in white dodged back and forth, as if traveling through space. She couldn't hit him at all. Can you tell me what is the meaning of life? The Transcendent stood in front of Cindy's 2 daughters, with pure and proud eyes. How can I answer this kind of question? You can ask a philosopher. Cindy grumbled. Philosopher? But someone asked me to come to Lin Ke, saying that Lin Ke would tell me the meaning of life. The Transcendent scratched his head. Hearing Lin Ke's name, the 2 women looked at each other in blank dismay, letting go of their vigilance. Cindy said, So you were looking for Lin Ke? Tell me earlier, Lin Ke is not here now. The Transcendent spread his hands and said, Isn't this the Lin Ke building? What is a building? Why is it called Lin Ke building? Cindy held her forehead, speechless. This man is probably not a fool. From Arkham Asylum? From this point of view, it is not good to let the other party walk around, so as not to cause any trouble. Don't ask, just wait here. Cindy shook her head in distress and said, What do you want to eat? No matter how stupid a person is, he should like to eat. Then he will be able to stabilize himself. Eat. The Transcendent scratched his head. He saw a lot of people eating, but I don't understand what it means to eat. The mouth opens and closes. Why should it be like this? What happens if you die if you don't eat? These are all things he can't understand now. It's like 3-dimensional people suddenly come to 2-dimensional, unable to understand the life of 2-dimensional people. Cindy, I'd better call Hill and the others over here. Jessica said. It's quite a sense of following Cindy's lead. Cindy was brilliant in every way and a great personality. The 3 words gentle, cold, and strong can be used on her at the same time. No one would hate such a girl. Good. Cindy nodded. Transcendence made her feel a little tricky. The other party is obviously not an ordinary person. Jingwei, tell Hill and Sky what happened here, Jessica said to the smartwatch. As ordered. Smart voice comes from the watch. Show me. When the Transcendent saw this, his eyes lit up, and he grabbed the watch. The watch was directly broken, exposing the electronic chip inside. All of a sudden, Jessica was really angry. What are you doing? That's a gift from Lin Ke, Jessica exclaimed. The Transcendent turned a deaf ear to it, held up the smartwatch to watch, and asked curiously, why doesn't it beep? Jessica felt that the Transcendent was a villain, and cursed angrily. You be asterisk 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 D, you broke it? Cindy stared at it. This guy is way too much. Even Lin Ke's friends can't do this. The Transcendent suddenly realized. He punched his palm and said, so it's broken, then I'll fix it. After finishing speaking, a beam of energy starlight appeared in his hand. Smartwatches look brand new. The Transcendent wears the watch on his hand, triumphantly. Jessica and Cindy caught their breath. What is this ability? This guy doesn't know what a watch is, but he can fix it. Could it be that he was just playing with them? Jingwei, tell Hill and Sky what happened here. The Transcender repeated Jessica's words, and his face was amused. Sir, please return me to Ms. Jessica, Jingwei advised. It's amazing, give me one too. The Transcendent asked for it, then shook his head, and said in a positive tone, no, it's mine now. It was evident that he had no shame in being a robber. At this time, the door opened. Lorna walked in quickly and said, Cindy, I heard you're in trouble? As she said that, her eyes fell on the Transcendent. Who is this? Lorna asked. I am a Transcendent. Hearing Lorna's question, the Transcendent blinked and pointed his thumb at himself. His tone was full of pride. Spirited guy, Lorna muttered and asked Cindy, is he the one you're in trouble with? Hill and the others are not at home for the time being and went shopping. So, here she is. Jessica nodded and said, well, this person is very strange. He came to look for Lin Ke. Very weird. Lorna raised an eyebrow and looked at the Transcendent. That stupid look of looking around made her feel no danger. Zero, ask for flowers. So she said to the smartwatch, the danger is removed. The Transcendent rolled his eyes around, landed on Lorna's watch, scratched his head and said, does everyone have this? Then I have it now. Am I a human now? This stupid remark made Lorna laugh directly. She patted Transcendent's shoulder carelessly and said in a street style, dude, you are definitely a human. Tell me, you came from that laboratory. Don't worry, you are absolutely safe here. No one dares bully you. The person who transcended both made her feel speechless and also made her feel funny. Laboratory? Where I was born is beyond the realm. The Transcendent feels that the laboratory Lorna mentioned is the place of birth. Beyond the field, which research institute is this? Lorna was just joking. As a result, the Transcendent really set a title. This made her suspicious. Hey, why hasn't Lin Ke come back yet? The Transcendent suddenly sighed and said, you say, if I destroy this universe, will Lin Ke come back? Lorna laughed and said, you can try, then he will probably notice it. Destroy this universe? It's true that mental patients are more happy and dare to think about anything. Cindy and Jessica didn't take it seriously either. Good. Hearing Lorna's reply, the Transcendence became energetic in an instant and opened his arms with a smile. On the palm, the superconceptual energy gathers. He's going to do what Lorna says. Hello. Suddenly, Lin Ke appeared, and a palm pressed down the Transcendent's arm. The Transcendent stared at Lin Ke and said, are you trying to prevent me from destroying the universe? Lin Ke, you are back. Lorna jumped into Lin Ke's arms, clamping Lin Ke's waist with his legs, like a sloth, full of joy. Cindy and Jessica's eyes lit up. It had been 3 days since that Paradise Island vacation ended. They thought that Lin Ke would also go out for a long time this time. Didn't expect this to come back so soon. Lin Ke stared at Lorna. This guy didn't know, because one of her unintentional words almost destroyed the universe. However, Lin Ke didn't mean to blame. Instead, he rubbed Lorna's head affectionately and said with a smile, miss me? Chapter 75. Lorna nodded sharply. She never hides her love for Lin Ke. You are Lin Ke? Between the two, a third head pokes in. The Transcendent approached Lin Ke, as if he wanted to take a closer look at every pore of him. Lin Ke patted Lorna's butt, beckoned her to go down, and then smiled at the Transcendent. Welcome to the real universe. The Transcendent nodded repeatedly and said, tell me what the meaning of life is. and why this universe exists. Don't worry, this is the end of the matter. Let's eat first, and during the meal, let's talk slowly. Banquet. Hill's family gathered together. During this period, there was one more transcendent. Life originally has no meaning. Lin Ke knocked on the table and smiled. 770 was stunned by the gobbler who was devouring it. What is this answer? Life is meaningless, so you should die. Hill frowned and looked at Lin Ke calmly. According to Lin Ke, the transcendent is a newborn god with the power to destroy the universe, so we should take care of him at ordinary times, so as not to let his mind twitch. This is a dangerous existence that may destroy the entire universe just by being curious. Since Lin Ke said so, Hill naturally wouldn't doubt it. Because during the vacation, Lin Ke personally pinched a few fixed stars to replace their original sun pendants. How so? The transcendent looked aggrieved, as if he was about to cry at any time. Does life have no meaning? Knowing the truth, I burst into tears. Then I'm going back. The transcendent put down his knife and fork. Do you know how to get back? Lin Ke asked curiously. Have no idea. The transcendent shook his head, reluctantly said, but as long as this place is destroyed and everything returns to the original blank, then this will be a new transcendent domain. In that case, his consciousness may also disappear, and he will fall into the same nothingness as before. You're not kidding, are you? Sky made a look on whether your head is amused. Lin Ke said, let them treat the transcendent normally. Hearing the words of the transcendent, she really couldn't hold back. The corner of Lin Ke's mouth twitched and he said, listen to me first. As he said that, he manifested a painting, gestured and said, you feel like we are looking at this painting. If you look at it for a long time, you will get tired of it and want to destroy it, so stop paying attention. All of this is because you have not yet entered the painting, so you think it is too thin and meaningless. The eyes of the transcendent are shining. Lin Ke's metaphor is very appropriate, and it almost speaks to his heart. I just look at the painting for too long now, and I feel annoyed. If I want to take my eyes back, I can't do it, so I can only destroy the painting. The transcendent asked quickly, then what should I do? Walk into this painting, but sooner or later I will get tired of it. Lin Ke said with a smile. After all, reality is not a painting, it is constantly changing. What's more, even if it is a painting, as long as it is wonderful enough, its value will exceed that of human beings. Life originally has no meaning, but when life is born, life has meaning. This meaning is to make oneself constantly complete. If you want to pursue happiness, then pursue happiness. If you want to pursue power, then pursue power. You're just too perfect to feel this right now, so you need to downgrade. Then, get into the painting, and finally make the painting beyond your present value. This is the ultimate sublimation, the ultimate meaning that every life is pursuing. There is happiness in happiness. There is power in strength. There is no end to drawing paper. The transcendent Mao Sai suddenly realized. It turned out that I was too perfect, so I didn't feel fun. You don't want to wait until I lose my strength? Then do it? The transcendent said suspiciously. Lin Ke smiled, shook his head and said, definitely not. The Marvel Universe is very complicated. Primitive transcendents are born in the realm of transcendence. The transcendent in the 2015 Secret War is said to be from the transcendence Protoss. But the manual also said that all these identities of him existed. That is to say, the transcendent realm where the transcendents are born is nothing more than the nursery of the transcendent Protoss. The entire Marvel multi-universe is a testing ground with huge amounts of, in the experience of the transcendent this time, the transcendent Protoss obviously passed chi with the supreme power. Everyone is acting with the transcendent. This treatment is higher than that of the Western Paradise Pilgrimage Group, so I don't know where to go. It is infinitely more difficult to attack the transcendent than to eat the flesh of Tang Monk. Lin Ke would not do such a stupid thing unless he suddenly lost a string in his head. Not only will I not hurt you, but I will protect you. Lin Ke smiled. But, you have to recognize me as your big brother. It's perfectly reasonable for an older brother to protect a younger brother, right? The transcendent thinks it makes sense, so he accepts his head and bows. Brother? Lin Ke laughed, hooked Cao Cao's shoulders and said, don't worry, with me here, no one will dare to hurt you while you are weak. He said so, but in fact he had other thoughts in his heart. He intends to imitate the Western Paradise to learn scriptures, let the transcendent go through hardships, truly fall in love with this land, and be tied to death. After all, the main monitor is too empty. But as long as the plan is successful, It should be no problem to pull Chaiwa Protoss and OAA to fight at the critical moment. The Marvel multi-universe, in the realm of transcendence, is like a drop of water in the ocean. Will the OAA and Life Tribunal be weak? Definitely not. Because strictly speaking, both are gods in the Omniverse, and the Marvel multi-universe is only one of their regulatory domains. Does that mean OAA is invincible? 0.6 definitely doesn't either. Nothing is invincible, otherwise the story would have no meaning. Even in the Almighty Universe, the Transcendence realm is very important. There is still no problem in surpassing the Protoss and playing a dozen OAAs. Otherwise, OAA will not allow the Transcendent Protoss to experiment with the entire Marvel Universe. It can be said that OAA has completely become Lin Ke's imaginary enemy. No way. Who told OAA to position itself so well? Brother, you are really my good brother. The Transcendent hugged Lin Ke's shoulders with tears in his eyes. It's not too late, let's start now. Lin Ke snapped his fingers and said with a smile, after you become an ordinary person, you will eat food. Then you will definitely become addicted to food. Chapter 76. Dung, in the underground base of Lin Ke building, the Transcendent raised his hands and created a life-creating instrument out of thin air. The Transcendent was full of joy, and then raised his hands again, and an energy storage device appeared out of thin air. I'm going to start. The Transcendent kicked his legs back and forth, extremely excited. It was just him and Lin Ke at the scene. Hill and the others are waiting outside the base. Let's start. Lin Ke laughed. His perception force, all-round vigilance. Be wary of enemies from all dimensions. If someone dared to take a step beyond the threshold, he would kill him without any hesitation. Don't look at the shallow space. No one is there. In fact, there are many existences staring at the Transcendent side, such as Mephisto, God of Creation, God of Beginnings, Observer, etc. All of them are LYB. The Transcendent is like a sprinter who hears the starting gun, injects most of the energy in his body into the energy storage device, and then turns it into energy and can't wait to join the life creation device in an instant. A fetus appeared in the life creator, and then grew up rapidly, becoming a young man. The brand new Transcendent climbed out of the life maker wearing a diaper. What happened? The Transcendent covered his naked body with a frightened expression on his face. This sense of nakedness made him feel scared. Immediately, he became excited. I live 03. I live. I really live. This is life. Great. The Transcendents ran wildly in the base, enjoying the exhaustion of sports, enjoying the pulling of muscles, and cheering wildly. Lin Ke Xin put the life creation device and energy storage device into the pocket universe, smiling and looking at the joyful Transcendent. Transcendence is actually a pretty good kid. Help gangsters get money. Help the gang boss to reach the top. Let Namor realize his dream of occupying land. Let Doctor Strange realize the dream of wives and concubines. Let Iron Man realize the dream of using Stark technology all over the world. Let Professor X realize the dream of mutant all over the world. However, no matter what period he was in, his end was actually not very good. What is impressive is that once the Transcendent came to the real universe again and played a role-playing game, because the character he plays is an inhuman race, he absolutely obeys Black Bolt's orders. It just so happens that there is another leader of the Illuminati, Black Bolt King. So, under the coercion of the Illuminati, he turned himself into a pile of dirt and returned to his humble corner. Although he has fulfilled everyone's wishes before, even though he kills death and makes all life without game over. But this real universe, which arouses his infinite curiosity, still does not welcome him. Because he is so foul. Everyone, everything, all gods, and all orders in the universe reject his coming. Brother, I'm so tired. The Transcendent ran to Lin Ke, with his hands on his knees, sweat dripping from his body. Take a break when you're tired. Lin Ke smiled, and a recliner appeared. I don't. Beyond shaking his head, his expression was full of brilliance. He was like a person without 5 senses who suddenly gained 5 senses. This feeling is simply more enjoyable than riding a horse XD. It's also fun to rest. You probably haven't experienced the feeling of recovery. Lin Ke laughed. The Transcendent was startled and quickly lay down. Bang, bang, bang. This is the sound of his heartbeat. He had never felt himself so clearly for a moment. Brother, this is too comfortable. The Transcendent exhales heartily. Obviously, he is not very used to this new body. Drink some of this, it's more comfortable. Lin Ke handed him a bottle of iced Coke. The Transcendent tentatively took it in his hand, and suddenly felt a chill. He had drunk this black liquid before. But that's all imitation. The Transcendent swallowed, feeling thirsty, and pointed the bottle to his lips tremblingly. The cold coke went straight from the throat to the lungs. Ascension of the soul, the Transcendent seemed to be possessed, and drank the entire bottle of coke directly. Hi, the Transcendent spread out on the chair. Do you feel the joy of life? Lin Ke asked with a smile. Definitely. The Transcendent nodded. All this was new to him. Your energy will be kept with me for the time being, and I will return it to you when you need it, Lin Ke said with a smile, and then said seriously, but without my permission, you don't use the locked energy, otherwise you may lose everything you have now. Plugins and power leveling. These two are the most likely to make players lose the fun of playing the game. The Transcendent heard the words, hesitated for a moment, nodded and said, okay, I promise you. The corner of Lin Ke's mouth curled up. He has observed the energy of the Transcendent, and it is a brand new field, which is relatively difficult to understand, unless you can absorb part of it yourself. But after only a day of acquaintance, it is too unkind to ask people to share a little of the original strength. Lin Ke is a kind person. Besides, he has nothing to do. Although he has been chatting in real life, most of his comprehension power has been used to comprehend the history of chaos. Do you want to eat? Lin Ke remembered the half-eaten banquet. The Transcendents didn't answer. He has fallen asleep. Lin Ke walked out of the base. Hill et al. Are awaiting. As soon as Lin Ke came out, the eyes of all the girls locked on him. Hill was the first to ask, what's going on? Lin Ke said with a smile, mother and child are safe. Hill was taken aback and immediately punched Lin Ke. Just kidding around this time. Successful reincarnation. You will be able to see a brand new Transcendent. He is sleeping now. Lin Ke glanced at the base gate behind him and said, then can he still destroy the universe now? Sky asked concerned. Nobody wants to be with a bomb that's going to go off at any moment. Shouldn't. Even if it is, you'll be fine. I'm here. Lin Ke gave a sigh of relief, and then said, he is not as scary as you think, but he is a little childish and naive. Definitely, don't say anything evil to him, or he will be blackened, and it will be very troublesome. Blackened's Transcendent. He didn't even dare to think about it. I'm afraid it is N-dimension stronger than Infinite Gems Ultron. 343, then what are you going to ask him to do? Hill asked. If you want the Transcendent to integrate into the real universe, it is best to give him a career. Anyway, you can't just walk around. Otherwise there are too many variables. And Lin Ke also gave his answer, which seems to have been arranged long ago. Security guard. When the Transcendents arrived, Lin Ke had already disappeared. There are meals and a smartwatch on the table. Boss, you are so kind to me. Tears filled the eyes of the Transcendent. He ate and drank, happily like a child. After he finished eating, the smartwatch issued an electronic voice. Mr. Transcendence, I will be your life steward from now on. Don't. You have a main quest. Please accept it, Sentry Box. I'm a company security guard, and I love bear biscuits. The Transcendent is wearing a Walkman, eating biscuits, and his face is full of joy. It has been half a month since he became a security guard. He loves the job. Complete the task every day. The strength in the body will increase by 1 point. This was given to him by Lin Ke, commonly known as task experience. After he completes the security mission for 1 month in a row, he will be able to get 10 powers at once. In other words, he obviously only worked for 30 days, but he gained 40 days. Good money. Thanks, bro. Just as the Transcendent was happily humming, the outside sky suddenly darkened, and a storm was about to come. A large number of biological warships fell from the sky. A purple-skinned giant jumped down from the flight machine, armed with a big knife in his hand, walking towards Lin Ke building step by step. Chapter 77. Excuse me, do you need any help? The Transcendent ran out of the sentry box enthusiastically and stood in front of Thanos. Hand over the space gem. Thanos looked down at the Beyonder. This young man, with an ordinary appearance and dressed in white, doesn't look like a guy who can stand on the stage. Although the Transcendent is very ordinary, Thanos does not give a trace of life. As long as the opponent tells the information about the space gem, then he doesn't mind letting the opponent die. Not long ago, he just learned about the whereabouts of the space gem from Loki, and he came to Earth without stopping. Mind Gem and Time Gem are also on Earth. Just took it together. Space Gem? The Transcendent shook his head. He had never heard of this thing. Let me search his memory. Ebony Maw flew forward, waving his hands back and forth on the Transcendent's temples. What are you doing? It's so itchy. Ha ha ha, the Transcendent laughed loudly, stepped back quickly, and asked curiously, "Are you attacking me just now?" "This is the first time I have been attacked." Ebony Maw's face turned black, psychokinesis was driven, and the Transcendent was directly knocked into the air, and Min was smashed to pieces. Hiss! It hurts. The Transcendent got up, looked at the broken sentry box, and was instantly angry. UB asterisk 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 D. UP asterisk 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 D me off. The Transcendent rushed forward like a bull, raising his fist. Boom! He was beaten back again. You really P asterisk 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 D me off. Boom! Damn it! Bang bang bang. The army gathered more and more. Gun-toting Chitauri landed non-stop. Thanos looked at the Lin Ke building, his eyes narrowed slightly by the sunlight. He didn't care about the Transcendent who was drawn as a ball on one side. The Mind Gem and Space Gem are on the owner of this mansion. It may be a bit difficult to fight later, but that guy, who shouldn't have an infinity gauntlet, can't use too much gem power. In this way, the possibility of him losing is very small. At this time, above the sky, the Regi Iron and Steel army flew over. The most striking thing is the huge mechs with dozens of them. At the same time, various steel monsters gathered on the ground. Fantastic Four, Ant-Man, and other superheroes are mixed in the meantime. In the blink of an eye, the encirclement is formed. Get off Earth. Tony's voice came from Qin Tianju's mouth. Leave. Thanos sneered and ordered. Fight. In an instant, guns fired. High-energy lasers alternate between the two camps. The sparks and explosions are like a clockwork stopwatch, which does not stop every second. Thanos shot out a vortex of energy, directly destroying a giant machine. After a sneer, he looked towards the Lin Ke building. At the muzzle of the battleship, a stored energy laser cannon has been aimed. Boom! The energy engine buzzed, and the light cannon hit the Lin Ke building. Neither exploded nor shook. Not even an iota of skin fell off. A look of obvious astonishment appeared on Thanos' face, and he quickly mobilized the secret energy of the universe to confirm that he was not in the illusion of Mind Gem. This obvious directional attack obviously annoyed the owner of the building. 6 figures shining with the radiance of life rushed out of the building, destroying everything they passed. Thanos' army couldn't even react to what the other party had done, and he had already been slaughtered for his convenience. This is Lin Ke's newly enlightened exercise, which was passed on to Lorna and the others for fun. Happy Tour. It can make its own attack penetrate into various time-space sections and attack enemies in all directions at the same time. There is no attack interval. The effect is obviously good. For example, Mia, who has a relatively high energy level, the enemies she encounters, including their equipment, are directly turned into debris. Boom! Sky punched through the air, and the power of the shock spread, and the members of the space battle group 1,000 meters ahead were directly killed by the shock. The ground collapsed in a fan shape. Are you okay? Lin Ke lifted the Transcendent. Lorna followed and asked. Big sister, I didn't. The Transcendent wiped his bloody head. Tears of pain almost fell out. Green light appeared in Lin Ke's palm and began to heal him. The wound is almost healed in the blink of an eye. Chow chow. If you don't have enough strength, you have to endure it. Lin Ke laughed. The Transcendent nodded fiercely. This time he was beaten. He was very happy at first. Then I became less happy and angry. It turns out that this is how it feels to have no strength, and he must work hard to become stronger. Brother, do you have more tasks? I have to do them. The Transcendent gritted his teeth and begged angrily. Lin Ke was stunned and nodded. It's easy to talk about. Ebony Maw narrowed his eyes and raised his hand. Psychokinesis was activated. He wants to sneak attack. Underestimate yourself? Can. But there is a price to pay. Lorna looked over coldly. Next second, Ebony Maw was separated into nothingness by the position, and even the most basic energy composition was erased. Big sister, I want to learn this. The Transcendent has lost most of his energy, and his learning ability has also been affected. But even so, his learning ability is also world-class. With an enlightened smile on his face, the Transcendent waved at a Chitauri. Suddenly, that Chitauri was reduced to ashes. Seeing this, Lorna showed surprise on her face. This little brother is quite powerful. Didn't it mean that the power has been sealed? With the Valkyrie of Lin Ke's family participating in the battle, Thanos' interstellar battle group was retreating steadily, and Simmons took all the gloves off. The scene was very brutal. Well, it's basically not a celebration banquet, because Thanos is totally free. There were only Tony, Hawkeye, Natasha Romanoff, Pym, Thor, and the Lin Ke family. There are not many people. The most important thing is to be fine. As usual, the banquet was held in the backyard of Lin Ke building. It's still barbecue. Transcendence. Is this, Li Zhao's, a member of your family? What a majestic performance today. Tony licked, because the scene where the Transcendent was beaten was recorded by his mechanical army. Fearing that young people would lose face, he fired the first shot of touting. This shot was obviously fired extremely loudly. I didn't expect you to find out, you guy. You have a good eye. The Transcendent raised his head and laughed while holding his wine glass. He also felt that he performed very well today. Suppress first and then raise. This is an Oriental term. It was also what Lin Ke said to comfort him. He firmly remembered his ambition. I will never forget it in my life. My name is Tony. Tony stood up and had a drink with the Transcendent. Okay, Tony. The Transcendents liked this kind of occasion very much, and soon hooked up with the Transcendents. Seeing this, Lin Ke secretly sighed. Tony's road is getting wider and wider. Chapter 78. Ha ha ha, the Transcendent looked up and laughed. The feeling of being praised by everyone is simply better than drinking Coke. Next, Tony handed the winner's prize to the Surpasser. A glass of Asgard's secret brew. The Transcendent gulped it down. Suddenly, his expression became distorted. He used to drink Coke, and he drank it there. Ha ha ha. It will be the turn of the others to laugh. Student Xiao Xiao, have you never drunk alcohol before? Is this your first time drinking alcohol? You're not underage. Thor, look at the inferior fake wine you sent. It blurred the expression of the Transcendent. Lin Ke glanced at Sky. Sky's poisonous tongue has always been acceptable. It's okay if the expression is blurred. Being laughed at by everyone, the Transcendent immediately blushed and shouted, I definitely drank it before. I just drank too much in one breath, and some choked as he spoke. The Transcendent rubbed his nose with his fingers. It was the first time he lied since he was born. Everyone can see that he is being stubborn. It's just that the embarrassing person didn't make fun of the Transcendent when he saw how embarrassed he was. Now, I can rest assured of him. 093 Hill sat beside Lin Ke, with a slight smile on his face. He's no different from us, just more immature. What Lin Ke said is definitely a Transcendent who has not regained his divine power. If he regains his divine power, it's hard to say whether he can maintain such a great enthusiasm for reality. Hill, there seems to be something special about your new member. Natasha Romanoff came over. Transcendents are extraordinary, and they are different from the performance of Lin Ke's family. Hill nodded, then shook his head and said, Natasha Romanoff, you better not know about this. Just treat him as having amnesia. The words fall, the other side. Hawkeye. Transcendent. Where did you stay before? Transcendence. Beyond the realm. Hill. The backstab came so suddenly that the corner of Hill's mouth twitched, a little embarrassed. Lin Ke admired quietly. This kind of expression is not common on Hill's face. Seeing Natasha Romanoff staring at him with amused eyes, Hill said helplessly, The Transcendent came to this world not long ago. I'm not familiar with the rules of the world. That's all I can tell you. Hearing this, Natasha Romanoff sat down on one side thoughtfully. Lin Ke looked at Natasha Romanoff's enchanting curves, rolled his eyes, and suddenly noticed. Natasha Romanoff, Thanos has escaped now. Do you have any follow-up plans? Hearing the questioning, Natasha Romanoff glanced at Lin Ke unexpectedly and said, Definitely continue to hunt. According to the latest information, he has already hid at the US-Mexico border. Thanos is now being chased by the Iron Legion like a desperado, fighting and fleeing, hiding everywhere. In order to avoid contact between Thanos and the three major forces and cause greater harm, Tony supervised very closely. As long as Thanos shows his face, the Iron Legion will arrive in minutes. Without the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos is not even as strong as Odin. Facing shape-shifting mechs, he often suffers from experience. Then how about I add a combat force for you? Lin Ke laughed. You mean the Transcendent? Natasha Romanoff glanced at the Transcendent, smiled and said, You want him to join the Avengers? It's really a good place to train people. Lin Ke rolled his eyes. Let the Transcendents join the Avengers? Dreaming you. Transcendence, yes. No one can snatch it. No way. Don't even think about it. I just want him to arrest Thanos. Otherwise, it's not a matter of being a security guard all day long. Don't Transcenders want to become stronger and do tasks? Then Lin Ke gave him the task. Okay, for specific matters, you can take him to the base tomorrow to discuss. Natasha Romanoff nodded. On the other side, Wang Er is teaching the Transcendent to drink with evil taste. Suddenly, the Transcendent's watch rang. There are special missions released. Join the hunt and bring Thanos to justice. Reward: 100 copies of Daily Strength plus 1 mysterious gift pack. Thor looked at his watch in surprise. Oi, there is a new mission. The Transcendent cheered. This is the first time he has received a special mission. Thor, I'll go first. After he said something, he hurried to Lin Ke and asked excitedly, Brother, did you ask Jingwei to send me the task? Lin Ke nodded and said with a smile, Well, the client of the task is indeed me. In addition to the main task of being a security guard, Jingwei will also send him daily tasks. The basics are some chores that are beneficial to the body and mind, such as taking out the garbage and tidying up the quilt. The purpose is to allow the Transcendent to better integrate into the real world. Great, big brother. What is a mysterious gift bag? Those who transcend are joyous. Almost every game player will be very happy when they receive a special task. I don't know either. Lin Ke shook his head. When Jingwei thinks that something is suitable for the Transcendent, it will distribute it. Now that Lin Ke has become stronger, Jingwei naturally rises higher and higher, and has been endowed with this little creation godlike ability. Usually, the strength improvement of the Transcendent is also done by Jingwei, and it has no direct relationship with Lin Ke. Otherwise, it would be too much leisure for Lin to give rewards to those who surpassed every day. I see. The Transcendent looked excited, and his curiosity was fully aroused. He felt that the mysterious gift package might be better than 100 power boosts. Late at night, in the room, Lin Ke sat cross-legged on the bed, with the infinity gauntlet on his knees, and the 5 grooves filled with infinite gems. There is one slot left empty. What's missing is the soul gem, and in Lin Ke's hand, at the moment, is holding one. Sacrifice a loved one? With Lin Ke's current personality, even if you throw a piece of pizza, the abyss will hand over the soul gem. Clang! As soon as Lin Ke loosened his fingers, the soul gem he was pinching was sucked into the groove. Collect all 6 infinite gems. Immediately, the entire infinity gauntlet shone with a layer of light, full of dreamy colors. Chapter 79. Hope that helps. Lin Ke thought to himself, and put on the infinity gauntlet. Suddenly, he had a clear perception of the ancestor deities' power. It's meager, but it's there. Lin Ke narrowed his eyes and was a little pleasantly surprised. Before, the personality was too low, so the perception couldn't reach these, and naturally there was no way to realize it. Lin Ke thought to himself, stepping to the edge of the universe. The time flow speed here is 10,000 to 1 with the time flow speed of the Earth. Next, he conducted a detailed study of infinite gems. 3 hours later, using the infinity gauntlet as a medium, you have devoted yourself to researching power gems, and you have realized some of the laws of the ancestor gods. 5 hours later, you used the infinity gauntlet as a medium to study soul gem wholeheartedly, and understand some of the laws of the ancestor gods. 7 hours later, you used the infinity gauntlet as a medium to study mind gem wholeheartedly, and understand some of the laws of the ancestor gods. 7 days later, you have unlocked the power of 6 infinite gems, discovered the secret behind the power, you have an epiphany, and obtained the art of creation and reincarnation. The art of creation and reincarnation. Disperse yourself into endless dimensions, experience reincarnation experience, and when you wake up automatically, you will achieve the supreme body. It's actually the art of enlightenment. Lin Ke opened his eyes, and after digesting the information in his brain, a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes. It's just not a surprise. The art of enlightenment is indeed good, but he didn't need it. This method of attaining Taoism is the same as the practice of reincarnation in the East. First, you will first check yourself, and then when you need it, you will return and sublimate everything you have accumulated in reincarnation. Easy to use, but it was a helpless move. Lin Ke has such good conditions now, he is crazy to do this. However, if this technique is used on Dao seeds, Lin Ke thought of his second seed, under everything. Just waiting for the DC world to blossom is not enough. Even if the laughing bet uses gamma divine power to create a crisis, it may be stopped by those superheroes. But it would be different if the second seed was sent over on its own initiative. At that time, it will be equivalent to spreading thousands of Dao seeds, and no matter the pros or the villains, they will be able to use the power of gamma divine power, just like infinite gems. Thinking of this, Lin Ke's heart beat hard. Do you want to send under everything to the DC world? After thinking about it, Lin Ke did not act rashly, but took out the original power of the other three creator gods and continued to study. 3 hours later, you comprehend the power of the origin of death, and you have a great understanding, creating inverse, the origin of death, reverse, the origin of death. Taking the origin of death as a reference, it clarifies the power of law of death at the origin level. With the source of death in hand, it doesn't take much effort to comprehend the death rules. Lin Ke was elated and integrated the source of death into his body. In an instant, he came to a land of infinite darkness. It was dark, silent, lifeless here. This is the kingdom of death. This kind of death is death in the ultimate sense. Can never open eyes again. The world moves on, and you can only stay here forever, ignorant and insensitive. Lin Ke felt great loneliness and sadness. What's the point of being alive? They're going to die anyway. This sense of sadness continued to spread in Lin Ke's heart like a virus. Suddenly, a golden light radiated from Lin Ke's body. The feeling of wanting to die was disintegrated in an instant. The power of death is really terrifying. Lin Ke's heart palpitated. Death is the ultimate of all things, the opposite of life. All things die. Advertisement, only death god lives forever. This authority is essentially at the same level as Phoenix Force. It's just that the goddess of death's roots are too bad. Otherwise, she should be an almighty ancestor god. Some were born oxen and horses, some were born Rome. This is also impossible. In reality, the dead breath in Lin Ke's eyes suddenly dissipated, and he woke up, with a kind of rhythm and inspiration flowing in his heart. It seems that I can have an epiphany. Lin Ke is very familiar with this feeling. It's just that he didn't follow the guidance of inspiration to realize the epiphany. Instead, it took out the eternal source. At the level of Lin Ke, the epiphany has nothing to do with time, but opportunity. This kind of opportunity is very rare. So Lin Ke cherishes it very much. Can't be hasty. Next, Lin successively comprehended the origin of infinity and eternity. The clarity of the three sources of power keeps Lin Ke inspired. Just like boiling water, I can't wait to rush out of the boiler. However, Lin Ke took a deep breath to suppress the boiling impatience. As soon as he raised his hand, a mass of power from the sky was manifested by him. First firmament, the starting power of the birth of the Marvel multi-universe. He wants to comprehend together. He blended the power of the sky with the original power of creation, constantly observing and simulating. I don't know how long it has passed. Finally, a ray of multicolored light burst out from Lin Ke, and the entire starry sky reflected shone brightly. 0. Ask for flowers. Guangyao directly passed through the Marvel universe, came to the almighty universe, and continued to shine. You comprehend the original power of creation. Combined with the power of the sky, you have an epiphany, and a drop of original blood of creation was born in your body. Original blood of creation. The son of the almighty universe, the innate ancestor god. Your body is undergoing extreme sublimation all the time. As a child of the almighty universe, when you enter the almighty universe, you will get an ultimate opening. Ultimate sublimation. The strength of the ultimate sublimation depends on the amount of original blood in your body. In the starry sky, Lin Ke started a seemingly endless upgrade. The integration of the power of the sky and the source of creation produces new power. And this new power began to feed back the golden Superman cultivation method. His thinking and perception directly extend to the omnipotent domain, and he feels warm and familiar, as if that is his home. 0. At the same time, many inherited knowledge from the almighty universe also began to pour into his brain. The ancestors in the omnipotent universe have levels. The sun level is the three eternal sisters represented by Nemesis. The level of father is represented by Oa, the so-called master. Oa is not without a source. Its source is the omnipotent universe. It's just that his narrative layer surpasses the real universe, and low-latitude creatures can't understand, that's all. In addition to Oa, Lin Ke also perceives the existence of a digital father level. They are all fathers who were once born in the omnipotent universe. A sleeping in chaos royal court, many invisible gods surround its throne. Darkness and chaos are its children, truth and universality are its creations. The phantom called cosmos and destiny dissolves around it, sinking into an unfathomable abyss. The old gods that ordinary people will go crazy when they touch them are just ants in their dreams. A man who lives on the boundary line between reality and fantasy world. What is above is true, what is below is false. The so-called transcendence or origin, compared with it, is like the luster under fixed star, ridiculous and ignorant. This is the master of endless dimensions, the real minister of reality and fantasy. One sits on a golden chair formed by the convergence of myriad sources, wearing a crown on the head, stepping on the past and present with one foot, and stepping on the endless nothingness with one foot, holding a square brocade box in his arms. Inside the brocade box, there seems to be an endless supreme world. This existence is the supreme ruler, who had a name from the beginning of his birth, called Dai. Chapter 80. In addition to these three life forms, Lin Ke saw two other fathers. One is the endless abyss and the other is the tower. It's all so scary. OA is really good compared to them, especially the first two. If born in their universe, I'm afraid I won't have a chance to escape in my lifetime. Lin Ke gasped. The first one, its origin in the world, cannot surpass its original in any case. The second, the absolute master of nothingness and reality, without his permission, anything originally is just a fantasy. Fortunately, the Marvel multi-universe is covered by OA. Otherwise, the power tentacles of those two must have touched. From this point of view, OA is really a good person. Become stronger. After Lin Ke was shocked, he was full of passion. I have the same 403 roots as those existences. Genesis blood. As long as there is enough original blood, he can also become a parental existence. The original blood of creation is condensed according to its own life source. Lin Ke's current size can only condense a single drop. There is such a big commotion here at Lin Ke. Soon someone came to the door. The death of one of the creator gods. Death came slowly, his eyes full of doubts, and he said, "What did you do?" The almighty universe shook. Because of Lin Ke's own sublimation, the previously established barrier was broken. So Death found Lin Ke easily. Lin Ke laughed and said, "It's just a little bit of power release. Why are you here? Is there something wrong?" Death didn't believe Lin Ke's words at all, and stared at Lin Ke as if there was a message to pass. Lin Ke agreed, created a pocket universe, and the two entered it. "You're right, I do have something to look for you." Death did not ask what happened to Lin Ke. Lin Ke has already politely declined. It's impolite to ask again. "What's up?" Lin Ke's eyes showed curiosity. If Death is fine, it should just wait and see in secret like other existences, and will not take the initiative to come to the door. He now has some understanding of Marvel's diverse gameplay. That is to use the crisis to give birth to the Emperor. The more crises there are, the more power is generated. Even if someone has thoughts about him, they will not show up directly, but use the power of crisis to shake his foundation little by little. "Do you want the source of oblivion?" Death said what he wanted, and his eyes were tightly fixed on Lin Ke. "You want to attack annihilation?" Lin Ke was surprised. This Death is too cruel. Once Death made a move on annihilation, their brotherhood of sympathy would be completely ruined. "What are you thinking?" Death shook his head. No matter how far things go, she will never really take action against other creator gods, because you can't afford that price. She doesn't want to live a life where gods hate ghosts and hide away. There are too many examples of this kind of villains. Death is enough to see, let alone take the initiative to try. Calculation of OA can also ease. Betrayal of brothers, there is no room for relaxation. "I want to make a deal with you." As Death said, he took out a purple gemstone. Lin Ke stared. "This is the original power of annihilation." Death nodded and said, "You were born late. Have you heard about the King of Chaos?" Advertisement: The King of Chaos was formed by the evil god Tianjin Wangxing in Japanese mythology by absorbing various protoss, destroying 98% of Marvel's universe in an attempt to unify the universe. "I heard. It was a super big event." Lin Ke saw it in the memory of the seven gods. Death nodded and continued. "Annihilation is the youngest and strongest of the four of us, and the King of Chaos is her duplication. At that time, he also created the King of Chaos for promotion. It turned out to be a failure. The King of Chaos is dead, and I left behind his original." Speaking of the latter, there was a smile on Death's face, obviously proud of his choice. The origin of the King of Chaos is also the origin of annihilation. Lin Ke gave a thumbs up, and said, "Then what do you want?" Death's eyes flashed, and he said, "The blood you bleed last time." Hearing this, Lin Ke pondered. Annihilate the origin and exchange for blood. No. After all, he already has a lot of heavenly blood. The basic concept of this kind of substance is not something that can get much benefit by touching it, but the more it absorbs, the better. However, in the end, Lin Ke shook his head. The DC universe is key to him. If Tying Swelluan gave it, it might make him fall into a big fall. Moreover, who would be happy to have their favorite garden be watched by others? Why? Death is imminent. In the omnipotent universe, it is almost impossible to find a stable job with the power of OA level. Because there is something better for you. Lin Ke smiled. Death was stunned, and instinctively felt that Lin Ke was lying to her, but in fact, he just didn't want to give heaven's blood. Don't believe it. Seeing her skeptical look, Lin Ke manifested a ball of light. There is a little understanding of the ancestor gods in it. What's this? Death perception throbs deep in the soul. Knowledge about the ancestor gods. Lin Ke laughed. You have the power of the ancestors? Hearing this, Death was full of horror, and his heart was extremely shocked. At their level, knowledge is power. It is something that can make life metamorphosis. It's not the same thing as math or logic or something. It's a bit of a mystery. Lin Ke drew a fingertip universe. You also know that I am smarter. Definitely, thanks to your original help. It is indispensable to be able to realize the original blood of creation, the origin of creation of infinite gems, the power of the sky, and death. This time, Death hesitated instead. The reason is also very simple. Lin Ke is horrible. Although it is said that she also left a copy of the source of annihilation, but this kind of thing, the effect of putting 1.1 in Lin Ke's place is completely different from the effect of putting it in my place. At most, I have absorbed the origin of the other three gods and improved one essence. And what about Lin Ke? Even the mysteries of the ancestor gods are known. Already surpassed her too much. If you send the source of annihilation, never mind. It's already so much worse, it doesn't matter if it's a little more. Anyway, I must obtain the mystery of the ancestor gods. Lin Ke put his arms around his shoulders, as steady as a seasoned fisherman. It didn't take long for Death to make his decision. A little mystery? I'm really curious about this little mystery. I'll give you the source of annihilation. With a smile on his face, Death handed the purple gem to Lin Ke. Lin Ke smiled. That's right, we are siblings, so we should help each other. Death's eyes flashed, and he said with a smile, You are right. Chapter 81. The two sealed the deal. Death is gone. Lin Ke held the purple gemstone and started to practice with satisfaction. Annihilation is indeed stronger than the other three. After Lin Ke gained an insight into the source of annihilation, the conversion rate of the original blood of creation has increased considerably. According to the current growth rate of the universe, I can condense a drop of original blood every 30 days. In addition to the original evolution of the creation blood and the golden Superman cultivation method, the magnification rate has also been increased under the continuous sublimation of the source of life. Lin Ke made an estimate, but some of them couldn't figure it out. Because of the sublimation speed in his body, he is also unpredictable. Anyway, the more original blood, the better. If you accumulate enough, you can go directly to Almighty Universe. I just don't know if there is any limit in the omnipotent universe. What will happen if I go to the Almighty Universe after I become an equivalent existence of OA? Just when Lin Ke was thinking this way, suddenly, energy came from his soul. Laughter is coming. Lin Ke hooked his mouth and cast chaos summoning. The laughing bat came out of the darkness. You have become a lot stronger. Lin Ke stared at the laughing bat, raised his eyebrows and asked 06. The laughing bat has changed a lot compared to the last time. Wearing a crown and a cloak, his figure is completely distorted into a monster. Hee hee, you two. The bloody eyes of the laughing bat stared at Lin Ke. Lin Ke actually gave him a sense of danger. It really surprised him. I thought that this time, I could swallow Lin Ke directly. Now it seems that we still have to wait. I want to know what's going on with you. This time I can give you a little more gamma power. Lin Ke smiled and said, wanting to know about the DC universe. The laughing bat is so weird. He seriously suspected that the other party had obtained the power of Dr. Manhattan. Yes, but you also have to tell me about your world and what you did with the heavenly blood I gave you. The laughing bat readily agreed. Next, the laughing bat narrated the story of the DC universe. It is up to Lin Ke to judge whether it is true or not. The laughing bat used Lin Ke's gamma power to destroy the square hero more quickly and obtain the body of Manhattan Batman. This Batman has the same potential as Dr. Manhattan. In order to get heavenly blood for you, I offended the Watchers. The laughing bat laughed and wanted to get benefits. Lin Ke turned a deaf ear to his words and was deep in thought. The second seed cannot be sent to the DC universe for the time being. The bat of laughter has a very strong feeling for him. If only one Dao seed passes by, it will definitely be taken care of. Are you going to our place? The laughing bat suddenly issued an invitation. Now our world has been messed up by your energy. You will definitely want to see it. Ever seen the Hulk-like Superman? He alienated the entire multi-universe. Like a green glass bead. Lin Ke shook his head. No, I still have something to do here. Don't you want to know what's going on here? I'll tell you now. What Lin Ke said next was 5 truths and 5 falsehoods. The laughing bat was non-committal after hearing this. Obviously, he would not fully believe what Lin Ke said. After Lin Ke finished speaking, he echoed twice, and the two parties made a transaction. The laughing bat held the green crystal condensed by gamma divine power and said with a smile, "As a witness of friendship, I'm giving you something, and you must accept it." As he spoke, he stretched out his fist. Advertisement, remember. Bring me Clark's blood next time. Lin Ke stared at the face of the laughing bat. Clark is the center of the entire DC universe. The value of blood is higher than that of heavenly blood. Seeing that Lin Ke didn't reach out to pick it up, the laughing bat let out a laugh and disappeared into the pocket space. A card fluttered down. This is made by the laughing bat with ability, with rule written on it. Swap bodies with your card receiver. Lin Ke withdrew his gaze and also left the pocket space. Let that card land. Lin Ke returned to the bedroom. Not much time has passed on Earth. Check the situation of other people in a circle and confirmed that the family members were safe and sound. Lin Ke lay on the bed and began to sleep. He even stretched before going to bed. Lin Ke hopes to preserve human desires and pleasures. The Golden Superman cultivation method will evolve as he expects. Definitely, if Lin Ke wants to isolate these things, he can do it. Otherwise, the Golden Superman cultivation method would be too stupid. The next day, Lin Ke takes beyond expectations the Avengers base. Everyone, as usual, was not affected by Lin Ke's breakthrough yesterday. Regarding Lin Ke's breakthrough, the Earth has also been aware of Wanda. Tony leads all the Avengers and welcomes the Transcendents. This can make the Transcendent awesome. After all, he is not very understanding of the world, and he doesn't know that Tony is doing this because of Lin Ke's face. 4-2, Lin Ke. Tony, maybe you should take the little Transcendent brother to learn about hunting Thanos, instead of pestering Lin Ke all the time. Natasha Romanoff raised an eyebrow. Tony shrugged, looked at Lin Ke and Natasha Romanoff, and said helplessly, "Okay." With that said, he pulled the Transcendent away. "Brother, I will miss you." The Transcendent turned his head and said reluctantly. Lin Ke smiled and sighed in the center. "This baby is really becoming more and more like a human being. Let's go. Let's take a look at my little mother's room." Natasha Romanoff frowned at Lin Ke and smiled charmingly. After finishing speaking, she turned around and walked towards the living area. Lin Ke followed behind. Tap tap, Natasha Romanoff is wearing high heels, stepping on the tiles with her slender toes, very rhythmic, and her whole body is sexy and mature. Lin Ke smelled the scent of female hormones. Finally, the two entered Natasha Romanoff's room. After entering the room, Natasha Romanoff continued to walk towards the bedroom, gradually falling off her clothes. She pushed open the bedroom door, flicked her wavy red hair, turned her head to look at Lin Ke. Her eyes were watery, and she hooked her garter stockings with her nail-painted fingers. The thin black ribbon bounces back and hits the smooth skin, shaking out the fragrance. Through the crack of the door, Lin Ke saw the crimson ambient light inside. The big bed and small bed chaise longue. Oh fun, how did she know I could play with rope? This woman really understands men too well. Lin Ke now more or less understands. Why do domestic flowers not have the fragrance of wild flowers? Why is Zhu Beiji unwilling to carry luggage? Looking at the magic cave, Lin resolutely walked up. Today is destined to be a day of desperate charge. Shuai is treated like this, there is no way. Chapter 82. While Lin Ke and Natasha Romanoff were happy, others were sad. Not Tony, not Banner, nor Hawkeye, but Thanos. Thanos hid in an underground sand cave, his eyes glazed over. For him, these days are simply a nightmare. No, it's scarier than a nightmare. It was literally hell. Almost all of his men died, includes Black Order. Not long ago, the last soldier also left him in order to break off. Earth, what happened? Thanos really doesn't understand. Why is a civilization that has just set foot in the interstellar field so strong? Formed scientific troops like the shape-shifting Legion completely crushed the so-called advanced civilization. On the first day of combat, the Superman-like women who flew out of those buildings also impressed him deeply. Fortunately, he ran fast at that time. Otherwise it would not be the gloves, but the head that was pulled off. Maybe, I shouldn't have come to Earth at all, Thanos murmured. He really hoped it was a dream. It seems that Mr. Alien has a very unsatisfactory life. A low, metallic trembling voice came from behind. Thanos turned back and said calmly, "Who are you?" The person who came here did not seem to be here to kill him. "Me. You can call me Dr. Doom. The Black Gold Dynasty sincerely invites you to join us and attack New York together. I don't know if you agree. It seems that you can only agree because you have no choice." Mutant Kingdom. Basement. Wolverine roared angrily, her eye sockets gradually sunken and eventually turned black, and she murmured a prayer of fate. The first cut. Let the blood of other things stain the giant web of life and destiny. At this point, the spider totem will no longer inhabit any living thing. The second cut. Let the bride's blood flow through the silk thread of the giant net, and there will never be any spider totems that appear by accident in the world. The third knife. Let the young spiders walk on the stage of sacrifice, and the era of spiders is over. Bride. In this universe. I'm here to find you. Las Vegas. Haoshang Empire. Bedroom. A thin man in a white coat with a slightly crazy face was waiting. A green monster, surrounded by maids, walked into the resplendent hall, took off the heavy armor on his body, and hung it on the wall. Afterwards, he sat on the bed fiercely and looked directly at the thin man. "If you have anything to do, you can tell your father." Lois looked enthusiastic and said, "Banner, you are the king now, and you should have the power of a king. I opened the green door in my dream, and I found the power we should have." The green monster is none other than Banner. After the death of his wife and children, it is his normal state to turn into a Hulk, otherwise he would not be able to be king. When Liu Shang Banner heard the words, his eyes showed a pensive look. Among the four major powers in America, the Green Emperor Empire is the weakest. The fighters are almost all his subjects brought over from aliens, one less. He'd never be able to kill Tony this way, unless I become more sleepy, strong enough to push the entire Avengers horizontally with his own power. Right now, an opportunity to make myself stronger is in front of me. Have you experimented on other people? After a while, Banner spoke in a deep voice, with an unpredictable look on his face. Not yet. Bo Lois felt a little disappointed. He wants to test it on his son right now. It's not like going to do some kind of experimental subject. Advertisement, only their family is the most suitable host for Gamma Divine Power. Everyone else is junk and defective. Okay, then let's carry out the two plans together. Banner said domineeringly. Willows are dark and flowers are bright. Lois' eyes lit up, and he smiled. Banner, when do you plan to start? Banner stood up calmly and said in a deep voice now. He can't wait to squeeze Tony's head off. Watching Tony's videos every day and listening to Tony's boastful voice, he couldn't take it anymore. If this continues, he will really go crazy and be completely swallowed by anger. In other words, he has been swallowed by anger. Now he is no longer that good old man Banner, but Emperor Lushang. He watched Tony's news, not to analyze any strategy, but to make himself even angrier. Liu Shang is making himself stronger in a way of torturing himself, just to kill Tony, since I will go crazy sooner or later. So, because why not let this day come sooner? Back home from the Avengers base, Lin Ke heard a piece of news that made him frown. Cindy was attacked. The magic energy given by myself has been used up and needs to be replenished. Lin Ke met Cindy in the infirmary. Sister Mia, I'm really fine. Cindy sat on the edge of the bed, looked at Mia who was fiddling with the inspection equipment, and said with a wry smile, Mia has already healed her with the power of the holy light. But Mia still felt uneasy. At this moment, Jessica led Lin Ke into the gate. Cindy's face froze, and she said evasively, Jessica, didn't I tell you not to tell Lin Ke about me? Jessica shook her head and said, if you don't replenish your magic energy, your life may be in danger next time. Lin Ke stepped forward, held Cindy's hand and said softly, I never forbid you to become superheroes. Sometimes, I just feel like you guys are hurting and it makes me feel uncomfortable. But equally, I'm glad you guys found what you wanted to do. Having a career you love is a rare treasure. If it's Japanese manga, Lin Ke, this is Asahi, the kind that directly pulls up the offensive power. And the effect is naturally very good. Lin Ke, I knew you were the best for me. Cindy seemed to have been hit by a critical blow and hugged Lin Ke directly, crying in her voice. When children are injured, they are usually afraid to tell their parents, because you will be punished and reprimanded. Cindy had this mentality before. Don't cry. Tell me now what happened. Lin Ke patted Cindy on the shoulder and smiled. Sky and Mia watched this scene with relief. Before Lin Ke's arrival, Cindy was very nervous, afraid of being blamed. Now that it's here, instead of blaming Cindy, he calmed Cindy's anxiety with gentleness. Mia is very happy with Lin Ke's approach, but at the same time she is a bit stingy. Lili Zhao. Isn't Lin Ke's peach blossom a little too much? Next, Cindy told what happened to her, why she was hurt, and even the account that Lin Ke gave her was used up. Lin Ke listened quietly, thinking in his heart, is the crisis coming so soon? The crisis is not directed at Cindy. It was played by Lin Ke. Not long after condensing the original blood of creation, Lin Ke already had this premonition. Because this is the rule of this universe. Many small things that you think are insignificant are actually the fuse of a big crisis, and even existences such as the Life Tribunal and the OA will be involved. The Life Tribunal has changed several times. OA was also hammered by Thanos. In Infinite Dispute, the Life Tribunal went to OA before it was destroyed by Thanos, and wanted OA to take action to end the chaos caused by Thanos, but OA said, I tried, but I failed. Regardless of whether OA underestimated the enemy or deliberately played Thanos. But OA is indeed caught in a crisis. Chapter 83. This is really similar to the immeasurable calamity. The higher the realm, the more dangerous the calamity you face. Lin Ke thought to himself. Afterwards, he comforted Cindy a few more words. Cindy withdrew from Lin Ke's arms. Her face was red, and she felt a little embarrassed. Okay, I'll swallow it for you now. Lin Ke laughed. In an instant, a blush crept up Cindy's cheeks to the base of her ears. She turned her head to the side and pulled off her collar, revealing a large area of white snow. On the snow-white jade skin, there are quite a few spiders. Lin Ke shook his head, thinking that it's okay if he doesn't have to. But it's all off, and Cindy will only be more shy if he talks about it like this. So Lin Ke admired the beauty again and again, and poured magical energy into the spider rune again and again. Okay, Cindy said weakly. Not good. Lin Ke shook his head solemnly. Cindy's collar remained open. Boom. Mia couldn't bear it anymore and punched Lin Ke on the head. Lin Ke bared his teeth and shouted, Do you know that you are fighting the great supreme Superman? Mia hugged her hands and snorted coldly. Who told you to bully Xingdi? If it leaks any more, Cindy will almost faint from heat. Didn't you see white smoke coming out of her head? Cindy understood what was going on, closed her collar, and looked at Lin Ke in embarrassment. Those who want 017 to wear a swimsuit will be seen if they are seen. But what is this initiative to open up? A sense of service. Let me check Cindy's body. Lin Ke argued. How did the inspection go? Mia squinted and sneered. Very white, tender and smooth. I want to ruo it. Lin Ke definitely couldn't say that, and said seriously, Very healthy. There should be no sequelae. Mia looked suspiciously. Is Lin Ke really checking Cindy's body? Cindy, have you practiced the angel cultivation method well? Lin Ke asked. Cindy nodded. Yes. Lin Ke continued to ask. Then why are you still injured? Cindy looked down. She really didn't want to go into details because the days were gone. At that time, he threw a person off the roof of the building, and I went to rescue him, but the person exploded, Cindy said. Lin Ke asked curiously, Don't you have spider telepathy? Cindy murmured. Then we have to save people. Lin Ke was thoughtful. It seems that the crisis is indeed pointing to him. Otherwise, with Cindy's ability level, a jeg, can't do anything to her, and it is impossible to be hurt by a little Wolverine. Yes, it was Wolverine Logan who attacked Cindy. Okay, it's time. Let's go eat first. I don't know what Hill and the others are doing. Lin Ke suddenly laughed, exposing this stubble. Well, Cindy breathed a sigh of relief, nodded repeatedly, put her pink and slender feet into the sneakers, and could not wait to leave the room. Seeing this, Lin Ke smiled. Mia shook her head helplessly. Cindy's occasional personality is really childlike. Advertisement, let's go. Seeing Jessica staring blankly, Lin Ke patted her on the shoulder. Jessica nodded. Compared with Cindy, I am always so dull. I don't know if Lin Ke will like me. Jessica has a little low self-esteem. 2 days ago, a mysterious existence contacted her in a dream, saying that it could change her personality and make her everyone loves her, like Cindy. Do you want to promise the other party? After dinner, Lin Ke refused Lorna's request to go shopping and returned to his room. He planned to go to the other 3 creator gods to learn from them how to deal with this situation. Outer dimension, death, eternity, infinity, and the supreme all come together. Lin Ke briefly described the problems he encountered, and finally asked, I don't know how you should deal with this situation. Unlimited listened, shook his head and said, I usually don't participate in the event center, and I don't have much experience. Infinity, as a representative of space, has the ability to isolate these so-called crises. Just wait and see, Death said. First of all, when the crisis doesn't really come, you can't confirm whether the crisis is pointing to you. Secondly, even if you want to interfere with other people's fate, you must know what lies behind their fate. Otherwise, it will only lead to a bigger crisis. Lin Ke nodded and said, I have already found out the force that took action against Cindy, and it is a family called the Inheritor. This family is hunting Spider-Man in every dimension because of a prophecy. The heirs, also known as the heirs of everything, is a family born on Earth 001. This is no secret to the gods of creation. It can be easily detected by Car. Eternal asked, Then what are you going to do? Lin Ke smiled brightly and said, I plan to go to the world of looms and blow up their lair with one punch. Death said speechlessly, I confirm now that you are indeed in crisis. Fortunately, you came to find us. Lin Ke's expression remained unchanged, and he said, How should I say it? Death explained, The successor family controls the web of life and destiny. If you destroy them directly, the entire multi-universe will be messed up. I can already think of the scene where the court of life ends. At that time, the life court may not be able to solve the problem, because the whole situation where multi-fate is chaotic. It never happened. We simply can't foresee it now. Lin Ke heard this and frowned secretly. He also knew that things were not so easy to solve. So he asked, What should I do? Death glanced at Eternity and said the same sentence as Eternity. Wait and see. Waiting and watching is the best choice. Hearing this, Lin pondered for a moment, then suddenly sneered, No, I refuse. Death asked in amazement, Why? As he spoke, he was afraid that Lin Ke might not understand the meaning of waiting and watching and continued. We are gods who created the world. Theoretically, we are immortal. But only if the crisis is not too big. When we encounter a crisis, what we have to do is to make the crisis smaller. Reckless action will only cause big trouble, and countless timelines have proved this point. You might as well just wait and see what happens, and see where things will go, so you might get unexpected benefits. This is the most common method used by the Genesis brothers and sisters to deal with crises. He is about the same as other great gods. I understand what you mean, but I still refuse. I'm going to smash those bastards now. Lin Ke's expression was cold and hard. After hearing this, Eternal couldn't help saying, Why? Isn't Lin Ke afraid of a bigger crisis? Cindy's shot and Lin Ke's shot are completely two orders of magnitude. The troubles caused are naturally not the same. Because I am supreme. Because I am the sum of infinite possibilities. I can do whatever I want. Chapter 84. Eternal was speechless. Death and Infinity looked at each other. This old five is really different from them. Young people are motivated. Looks like I'm going to sleep at the end of the space. Infinity doesn't want to get into trouble. Eternal shook his head and said, Supreme, I really don't suggest you do this, you know. I control all the timelines. I can help you. Death also said, You are an immortal god, but really don't touch the rules of the universe. Our universe is a universe full of crises. The transformation between gods and mortals may be just a moment. Lin Ke was unmoved, but shook his head and said, Thank you for your kindness. Attitude is obvious. Still refuse. The transformation between God and man is only in an instant. Lin Ke wants to see how he becomes immortal. Even if it is an OAA, I don't want to take away my ability. After becoming the god of creation, Lin Ke's personality is also getting closer to the title he took for himself. Supreme. Overbearing. Loom World. Soros, the leader of the successor family, and a group of people are observing the fate of Spider-Man. The sky is full of Spider-Man figures. There's Captain America Spider-Man with S.H.I.E.L.D., there's Pirate Spider-Man, there's Surprise Spider-Man, there's Venom Spider-Man, there's Thor Spider-Man, there's Demon Spider-Man. There are all kinds of Spider-Man, and there are many. None of these are what we're looking for. Soros shook his head and said, as he shook his head, a Spider-Man immediately began to switch the image of fate. He is a master weaver. It is because of capturing him that the successor can manipulate fate and find Spider-Man in every dimension. No, next one. Soros shook his head. The screen of the sky continued to change. No, next one. Next. Next. I don't know how long the sky changed, and finally, Soros yelled to stop. In the middle of the sky, a newborn Spider-Man appeared. Soros's eyes were sharp, and he immediately smiled and said, "The descendants have been found." Suddenly, the scene burst into laughter. Finally found. It seems that the prophecy has failed. The family of heirs is immortal. The reason why the inheritors hunted down Spider-Man was simply because they learned a prophecy. In the future, their family will be destroyed by Spider-Man. For this, they have killed countless Spider-Man. Now, there are still 3 crucial Spider-Men left before they can complete the sacrifice and break free from the spell. The first, something else they had arrested. The second bride is being hunted by the tribe. The third descendant has now been found too. It all works perfectly. It can be said that everything is ready, only the east wind is owed. Emolu and Bora, you guys will bring the last sacrifice. Soros waved an order. In the successor family, 2 of them smiled, just when they were about to agree. A supreme figure emitting immortal golden light appeared under the sky. Soros' expression suddenly changed, and he shouted sharply, "Who are you?" Everyone in the heirs was on alert. The successors originally do not have a body, and the bodies they have are all formed by absorbing and plundering the power of others. Advertisement. This caused many people to look at Lin Ke with greed. It seems that prey has been delivered to the door. And this prey seems to be delicious and juicy. Hey, don't grab me. He's mine now. Emoluin laughed loudly, stretched out his cloak behind him, and rushed towards Lin Ke. Immediately, Lin Ke was thrown to the ground by him. The sacred golden light overflowed from the prey, and with every bite, Emoluin could feel the sublimation of life. This taste is so wonderful. Seeing that Emoluin succeeded, other brothers and sisters also rushed forward. Emoluin was irritable in his heart, and he shot mercilessly at the family members who dared to snatch the spoils and directly beat them into the air. But those hateful clansmen are still in an endless stream. The successors jumped over like fleas one by one, trying to eat Lin Ke up, just like the devil devoured the body of Jesus. Emoluin was furious, but there were too many clansmen competing for food, so he had no choice but to lower his head and gnaw on Lin Ke's corpse, wanting to eat as much as possible. The blood gradually splattered all over his body, and Emoluin found that his body became taller and stronger, and became stronger and stronger. This sense of expansion made him extremely excited. The only thing that makes him feel bad is that Lin Ke's corpse is eaten up. His blood-red pupils swept away, and he found the tribe next to him with blood on the corner of his mouth. Immediately, he hesitated for a moment, grabbed the opponent's head, and stuffed it into his own mouth. 0. Seeking flowers. Delicious and juicy. That's exactly what it tastes like. Same taste as eating Lin Ke's corpse. After Lin Ke arrived, the successors swarmed up and dismembered Soros. Afterwards they killed each other, and Luon became the only winner. The scene was dripping with blood, like a slaughterhouse. Lin Ke looked around the scene, and finally his eyes fell on the weaving master. The master weaver shivered. He witnessed the whole process. Since Lin Ke appeared, those villains who captured him have gone crazy and become more terrifying than the demons in hell. God, they actually ate their own people. Is there anything scarier than this? Find me the whereabouts of the other heirs. Lin Ke stared at the weaving master and said, "Good sir." The weaving master nodded, not daring to say a word of nonsense, and immediately began to dance the silk thread of fate. This new guy is completely a tyrant. This is an existence more terrifying than the lunatics of the successors. Never violate it. Because he knew what Lin Ke's identity was. One of the 5 creation gods, supreme. He is the youngest of the 5 gods. Now it seems that it may also be the strongest one. With the manipulation of the weaving master, the sky changed, and a successor with a name in various dimensions was exposed. Lin Ke's eyes were indifferent, and he didn't immediately go to those dimensions to hunt down the heirs. He is thinking about one thing. If he leaves, will there be a successor who will come back here and blow up the Loom world? This is very likely to happen. Just when Lin Ke was thinking this way, he saw Emoluin who was alienated into a monster. How about turning this guy into a guard? Not reliable. What if there is a powerful intruder, or what if there is an accident? At that time, there will be chaos in the diversity, and the debt of guilt will fall on him. I must sit in the army. Then, a golden light flashed on Lin Ke's body, and hundreds of golden Superman figures appeared in this space. From the moment he realized the full version of the Silver Superman training method, Lin Ke already had countless abilities to deal with crises. The situation in front of him couldn't help him at all. Immediately afterwards, The golden figure rushed into the sky, hunting and killing the air. Use his own way to treat his own body. Chapter 85. Khan is a young member of the air family, but also an outlier in the family. Because he didn't want to kill, his mother was accidentally killed. As a result, Khan shamed the family and was exiled. He made a metal helmet for himself as a mark of shame, and traveled alone in various universes, hunting and devouring the Spider-Man there, hoping to win back the family's approval one day. Although Khan killed countless Spider-Man, but he thinks he's a good guy, because he doesn't enjoy killing. Hunting and killing Spider-Man is just for appetite and survival needs. Deep down in his heart, he wants to explore and record the beautiful things in different worlds, rather than bringing death and destruction like his own family members. Whoosh! The spear flew, piercing a Spider-Man and nailing it to the wall. I'm sorry, but you must die. Khan stepped forward, ready to kill the Spider-Man. Z-520. Suddenly, two golden rays hit Khan. Khan was like an electric shock. His whole body turned into gold, immediately disappeared out of thin air, as if removed from this world. Who are you? Spider-Man endured the pain and asked. The golden Superman didn't speak. A golden dimensional vortex opened in front of him, and he stepped into it. Hey, at least help me pull out the spear. Spider-Man was in a hurry and kept calling. Perhaps his call was heard. Before the golden vortex disappeared, a golden ray struck over. Spider-Man closed his eyes. However, he was not instantly killed by the golden ray, but returned to his original shape, and the spear on his chest disappeared. Spider-Man was dumbfounded. The means of the golden Superman made him unimaginable and incomprehensible. It's like straight alter reality. Spider-Ham dodges an air's energy attack and jumps back and forth between tall buildings. He is a spider bitten by a pig. Damn it, didn't your mother teach you not to touch your asterisk? Touching his butt burned by the energy wave. Spider-Ham cursed loudly. I've never eaten a spider like you. The successor GS smiled strangely, wearing a web shooter on his wrist, and followed Spider-Ham closely. The web shooters are his trophy and work really well, especially when used to hunt other Spider-Man. Every time the prey showed that surprised and puzzled look, it would make him feel extremely happy. Just as he continued to hunt down Spider-Ham, two golden rays hit him. Instantly, his fate was the same as that of Khan. He was directly erased. Similar scenes continue to be staged in all dimensions. The original hunter has become the prey, and there is no way to fight back. Lin Ke is staying in the Loom world, silently observing all this. The Golden Superman's annihilation action caused quite a commotion in the multi-universe. After all, the power contained in the Golden Superman is not low. It's just that the gods didn't say much because of Lin Ke's face. But the local Asgardian forces don't know where the Golden Superman will go. In the multiverse, information and literary works about the Golden Superman began to spread. Some people believe it. Some people think that the so-called witnesses are completely lying. How can someone look exactly like the Golden Superman and have laser eyes? It looks like I've read too many DC comics. As we all know, the Marvel Universe has DC comics. I'm not going home for now. Lin Ke building. Mia and others received Lin Ke's telepathy. Advertisement. Lorna's small face immediately puffed up. Sky recently had something to do. Hill founded a charitable foundation and occasionally does not go home. Today, there are only 5 of them in the family, and it becomes much quieter after a while. Maybe we should call Iriana over to play, Lorna said. She has a very close relationship with Iriana, both of whom are mutants. Mia nodded, with a slightly dignified expression and said, I don't think Lin Ke will be back tonight. Something must have happened to me. Maybe Natasha Romanoff again. Simmons said angrily. Mia stroked her forehead and said, I didn't mean that. The girls became puzzled. If anyone in the family knows Lin Ke best, it must be Mia. It can be said that wherever Lin Ke stands still, Mia knows what he is thinking. Mia continued. Lin Ke may be in some trouble, and it may have something to do with Cindy's attack. Is it about me? After hearing this, Cindy felt a little overwhelmed. Mia nodded. What happened to you this time is obviously unusual. If it wasn't for the magical energy, you would have almost died. Lin Ke didn't say anything at the time, and even had a meal with us. He didn't take revenge immediately. This is the most abnormal. When Cindy thought about it, it was true. Once she was injured, although it was very light, but Lin Ke took her to find the person who hurt her. Not only killed the heinous person directly, but also taught her some truths. This time, I almost died. It is impossible for Lin Ke to remain indifferent. After thinking through this link, Cindy's expression became tangled. 202. Cindy, don't show that expression. That kid is so strong. It's time to do something at this time. It's great to be served by you all the time. Look at him being lazy. Mia pouted. Seeing Cindy like this, she knew that Cindy couldn't escape Lin Ke's clutches. After finishing speaking, Mia said again, with Lin Ke's strength, if he has been away for so long and hasn't come back, he may really be in trouble. So I thought, let's just go straight to Camargue. Lest we stay at home and be regarded as a breakthrough or something. Definitely, this is just a guess. Anyway, didn't Wanda invite us to play last time? It would be nice to have a visit. When the girls heard Mia's well-founded analysis, they couldn't help but nodded. Seeing that everyone agreed, Mia smiled, closed her eyes, and called Wang Tian with telepathy. Next second, an oval portal opened, and Wanda walked out with a smile on her face. Wanda. Simmons jumped up happily. Simmons, Mia, Cindy, Jessica. Wanda smiled sweetly. Since that trip to Paradise Island, she hasn't been to New York for a few days and has been practicing in Camartage. Mia pulled Wanda and said with a smile, Wanda, we want to go to Camartage for a while. I don't know if you would like 90 million. Jessica's eyes sparkled, and she said, it would be even better if I could learn a little magic. She is obsessed with learning magic, because Lin Ke is cool with magic. Definitely don't mind. Wanda smiled and said, it's my territory now, and Iana misses you very much. Don't mind it. It's too late for Wanda to welcome you. After all, she is young, and Camartage only has 2 acquaintances, Pietro and Iriana. So she will get tired of it after a long stay. Now those Mephisto dare not come to Earth at all. The name of Scarlet Witch is enough to shake everything away. Therefore, she can be said to be very leisurely now. The girls chatted happily for a while, and Simmons was about to pack up his things, mainly some snacks. Just then, the door opened with a bang. Hill hurried into the house. Something happened to the Transcendent. Chapter 86. Something happened to the Transcendent. These 6 words also rang in Lin Ke's heart. He is now in Loom World. Either leave to help the Transcender, or stay here. Definitely, he can send a duplication too. This is no problem for Lin Ke. Lin Ke looked up at the sky. Above the canopy, several areas broadcast images of members of the Hill family and Transcendents. Lin Ke didn't intend to do anything. Because the Transcendent is not life-threatening, this happens to be a good opportunity to temper him. Black Gold Dynasty. City Center. The army of cyborgs was waiting in battle, and the city was completely surrounded. From a rough look, there are at least tens of thousands of people, still holding a format weapon in his hand. High-energy rifles, electromagnetic javelins, shock bombs, etc. The Transcendents, Hawkeye, and Reed were magically bound to a high platform in the city center. Fortunately, there is still a seat for the 3 of them, instead of kneeling. Otherwise, it would be exactly the same as a certain flame boy. What will the Black Gold Kingdom do to the 3 of them? Public execution. The 3 Transcendents were originally connected to the Iron Army to pursue Thanos, but never expected that the Black Gold Dynasty would intervene. What is even more unexpected is that the dictator of Latvinia, the famous Dr. Doom 06, turned out to be one of the supporters behind the Black Gold Dynasty. Under the conspiracy, the 3 Transcendents were recruited one after another. Afterwards, the Black Gold Dynasty announced the news to the world. 3 days later, the 3 people were publicly executed. Once this news was sent out, it caused a sensation all over the world. The Black Gold Dynasty captured the core members of the Avengers and wanted to execute them publicly. What does that mean? This means that an unprecedented superhuman battle is coming. It is very likely that this is the 3rd World War, which will be recorded in the annals of human history. Now the whole world is in turmoil. Superpowers appear frequently. There are those who do evil, and those who do good. The prelude to an era of extraordinary people has already begun. And maybe this battle will wake up all super users, or maybe this battle will push the world into the abyss. Now outside the Black Gold Dynasty, there are journalists who want to enter. In order to enter the front line, they even disregarded life and death. Below the execution platform, the reporters of the Black Gold Dynasty are doing propaganda work. In the live broadcast, the reporter was surrounded by several bull-headed cyborgs, screaming at the evil deeds of the Avengers. I can't imagine. I really can't imagine. What would a country run by robots look like? What kind of horror would it be? Will ordinary people there still have jobs? Why didn't the workers come out in March? Why didn't anyone come out against Tony Stark? I dare say that the videos released in New York are all fake videos made by IA. The living environment inside them is not that good at all. It must be full of disasters, and the people are in dire straits. Otherwise, why do you only see people leaving New York, but not anyone leaving New York? I have a piece of reliable news here, which was found out by the Heijin dynasty after 1,000 fortunes and painstaking efforts. Tony Stark has created a bionic robot to replace the original people. Perhaps someone you are familiar with has been killed. Building. In front of the floor-to-ceiling windows, Jean Bing looked at the three people on Xingtai from a distance and said in a deep voice, "Is there any new news from New York?" Osborne said, "There is no news from the insider, and he may have been arrested." Jean, hearing this, his face sank. Dr. Zola explained, "It seems that Tony has made another breakthrough in cybersecurity technology. Dr. Zola is solely responsible for the information collection and network security of the Black Gold Dynasty. Advertisement, only this information life form can wrestle with Tony. But now it seems that it is still at a disadvantage. Boss, do you think Tony and them will come?" Bullseye played with the flying darts and asked casually. Extending the line of sight back, you can see a group of frightening villains. Mrs. Gao, Connors, Drake, Mrs. Hydra, Dr. Octopus, Rhino, Thanos, Dr. Doom. Definitely will. Jean didn't speak, and Osborne answered for Jean. He said with a sneer, "Once they don't come, their so-called aura of justice will be broken. No populace will trust them anymore. At that time, we will use public opinion warfare to defeat them." Why can Tony be called the #1 superhero in the world? In addition to his strong strength, there is also his high-sounding image. Can we really win? Last time I almost died on the battlefield. Those steel monsters are too scary, the Rhino said in a naive voice. He once met the Iron Legion face-to-face and almost died on the battlefield. Biochemical humans are certainly strong, but compared with the Steel Army, they are still much inferior. "Oh, are you afraid?" Connors said coldly. Rhino is his creation. He felt that the Rhino had lost face to him. "Definitely no. I'm just a little concerned." The Rhino quickly denied it. A ball of symbiote matter in Drake's hands kept wriggling, and he smiled. "What are you worried about? Are you worried that they will drive the Steel Army into the city? Or are you worried that they will use weapons of mass destruction? We have gathered 1,000,000 civilians here. As long as the Avengers dare to come, they are sending materials for our laboratory." Rhino suddenly realized. "I see. He got it. Ha ha ha." Rhino laughed like thunder. Jean Bing waited for the boss to laugh too. In street fighting, those weak Avengers are definitely not opponents of cyborgs. 960, but what if Supergirl comes? Halfway through the laugh, the rhinoceros asked suddenly. There was some silence. Everyone stared at Rhino. Immediately, the rhinoceros was sweating coldly. "Sunsin, Supergirl, I will solve it with magic." Dr. Doom took a deep look at Connors and said in a cold voice, "Besides, there are 30,000 cyborgs here. If you can't even deal with a few little girls, then you might as well be yourself." Connors' complexion sank, and he said nothing. Drake chuckled, the symbiote in his hand ready to move. Mrs. Hydra smiled enchantingly, and she looked at Dr. Octopus secretly because of the deep meaning. Mrs. Gao's cloudy old eyes were dim. "Everyone here has their own ghosts. Half of my mind is on my peers, and half on the upcoming superhero. Supergirl, Ant-Man, Fantastic Four, Daredevil, these are troublesome characters. The latter probably doesn't matter too much, because they couldn't make any waves in front of 30,000 biochemical people. But the former is worth paying attention to, because its combat power is really too strong. Have to guard against. However, what they don't know is that, on the watch of the Transcendent, there are several lines of characters flashing. Special task trigger. Forbearance 3 days later, you will gain the invincible power to sweep away all enemies. Before that, you need to endure. Chapter 87. The Avengers Base. Hundreds of mechs are on display, which is spectacular. Standing in the middle of the mech, Tony didn't feel satisfied or ambitious, but extremely uneasy. Tony hadn't felt so powerless since admitting he was a father. The armor is stalwart and tall. I am small and weak. Faced with the situation where his comrades were arrested, not to mention helpless, there was really nothing he could do. The power he has is completely limited. Send mechs to other cities? Tony couldn't imagine what it was like. It is estimated that as soon as he went, the curses of all human beings came overwhelmingly. Moreover, he could not escape the condemnation in his heart. There are millions of people on one side, and 2 comrades in arms and a young man on the other. What the hell should I do? Lin Ke, hurry up and call me back. Tony looked up at the sky. His tear glands were hot. If I cry again, will Lin Ke help me? Ing. Tony secretly dropped the little pearl, while wiping tears, while peeking around. Only half a day before the public execution, he is really helpless. Hill said she was unable to contact Lin Ke. But if I shed tears, maybe, possible. All right, it's even more impossible. Where did Lin Ke go? Tony was filled with endless doubts. In fact, Lin Ke had contacted Hill and the others to tell them to be calm, and he would handle this matter. But Hill didn't tell Tony the news, because it was Tony who made the trouble, and something has to be taught. It takes so much trouble to catch Thanos. This Tony, what a waste. K it. A bunch of big iron bumps, being played around by a Z-husher. Just like that, you still have the nerve to be called the #1 superhero in the world. Actually, it's not Tony's fault. Dr. Doom is very buggy. It belongs to the kind of dual cultivation of science and magic. Technology is not weaker than Reed, and magic is not weaker than Sorcerer Supreme. After 2 sets of targeted magic, Tony's mecha is really no different from a toy. The main reason is that I have never encountered this kind of enemy on the magic side. Otherwise, we will definitely be able to work out a countermeasure. Tony, it's time for us to go at this time. Superheroes including Natasha Romanoff, Steve, Thor, Daredevil, and Fantastic Four walked over. All of them looked serious, without any smiles on their faces. No one can laugh. Teammates are about to be publicly executed and die in the most cruel, bloody, and primitive way. No matter who you are, you will feel the pressure. Where are the Supergirls? Tony asked. Without Lin Ke's family, he is worried. People have their own way to get there. Natasha Romanoff frowned, worried about Tony's current state of mind. Tony, why don't you go to sleep for half an hour? Pym was very disappointed with Tony's performance in the past 3 days. Maybe Lin Ke really has a plan to rescue the 3 of Hawkeye. But if you can't get in touch with someone, what's the use of waiting? No need. I'm very energetic. Tony said the classic lines of people who stay up late. Sometimes people are overworked and really feel extra energetic. I don't want to sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning, a little sleepy at 3 o'clock in the morning, and resurrect with full blood at 6 o'clock in the morning. Stay up late to read novels. The more you read, the more energetic you will be. Advertisement Avengers, go. A shape-shifting fighter plane flew over and picked everyone up. At the same time, hundreds of mecha tail flames sprayed out together, straight into the sky. Looking from a distance, it seems that hundreds of rockets have been launched into the sky. Almost everyone in New York can see this scene. Someone recorded the footage. Maybe the photos will go down in history and appear in children's textbooks in the future. And at this moment, in a palace with huge amounts of, the inside is big and the file size is small, but wherever you look, there are goddesses with refined temperament. Supergirl members, all districts. There are 6 Supergirls, Simmons, Sky, Lorna, Mia, 4 veterans, and Cindy and Jessica who joined later. Hill didn't join this team of heroes, but Hill was there at the moment. Besides her, there are Wanda, Iriana, and Gusan. Because of the public execution of the Black Gold Dynasty, Wanda also invited Ancient One out. After retiring from Sorcerer Supreme, Ancient One has been using astral bodies to travel through various worlds all day long, and is almost addicted. I don't think you need to be so serious. Lin Ke said he will solve it, then he will solve it. I think you should believe him. Ancient One spoke first, breaking the slightly tense atmosphere. A different magician. Hill shook his head and said, Lin Ke also said that if there is a problem with the transcendent, this universe may be destroyed. No matter what, we will do our part. Even if it's not for the victory of the war, we must go to see that child. At least we can't leave him helpless. What Hill said resonated with everyone. Facing a big boy who is eager to help others like Transcendent, no one will hate him. Although it is occasionally stupid, it is indeed in line with the values of the Hill family. If it is an ordinary superhero, after learning about the Transcendent's ability, they must want to suppress or expel Yun. But under Lin Ke's subtle influence, everyone has a little bit of grave accent, force-first doctrine. Because their power is not obtained out of thin air, but from their own cultivation, so they understand the preciousness of power. It's never wrong to have power. It's not wrong to pursue power. Among superheroes, there has always been a kind of power and shame. Whoever pursues power is impure, and will even be labeled as a villain. Lin Ke absolutely does not allow this kind of atmosphere to appear at home, and usually educates Simmons and the others. Therefore, they have no prejudice against the Transcendent. Hill is right. Win or lose, we should help the overachievers. Simmons raised his hand. She, who has always followed the crowd, rarely expressed her views on the initiative. Think about it. The child of the transcender might regard them as family members. And her family, when he needed it most, refused to show their faces. Those who transcend will definitely be heartbroken and may completely give up on reality. In fact, the transcendents are forbearing now. The excited group doesn't have so many thoughts at all. Since you all have this kind of thinking, it doesn't hurt to help. Ancient One laughed, by Nuali, and said. At this moment, Lin Ke's voice appeared in everyone's minds. If you want to be good to the transcendent, don't help too much. Immediately, the hall is noisy. All the girls called Lin Ke's name one after another, but there was no response. It's not that Lin Ke is pretending to be cold, but that his attention is also on the side of the transcendent, and he doesn't want to chat too much. When Dr. Doom appeared, Lin Ke knew that things were not easy. There is a timeline. That is, Dr. Doom absorbed the power beyond the Protoss, founded the Dogia, and became the Lord Doom. Ancient One raised his hand, put down the commotion, and said with a smile, Lin Ke is his plan. Let's stay calm. As he spoke, he waved his hand and cast a spell. Not a portal. It's projection. The scene of the execution platform of the Black Gold Dynasty appeared in the sky ahead. In addition to the picture, you can also hear the sound. This is the magic of magic. Travel through the mundane world, do whatever you want, and are not bound by the physical world. Chapter 88. Black Gold Dynasty. Punishment. 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 The cry of the biochemical man was like a tide, like a wave, boiling back to the sky. Some extreme citizens of the Black Gold Dynasty are also shouting loudly. It's not that they don't know how vicious and anti-human their behavior is. On the contrary, it is precisely because they know that they are so fanatical and hysterical. The folk customs of the Black Gold Dynasty have always been violent, and the proportion of criminals is as high as 1/5. This is what Jinbing and they did on purpose. Not crazy. Who would want to be a cyborg? Although biochemicals are ugly, they may die during the transformation process. But this is the most popular job in the Black Gold Dynasty, and it's hard to find a job. Those shouting civilians just hope that the higher-ups will see their extremes, so as to express their loyalty and get a chance to climb up. This kind of thing has happened from time to time in human history. The most typical is the witch hunt in the Western Middle Ages. At the moment, after Tony's steel array took off, a large number of media around the world rushed to report, and netizens continued to discuss it on the internet. In more than 100 countries around the world, as long as there is a standardized network, almost all of them are paying attention to this dispute between the Black Gold Dynasty and the Avengers. 567. Iron Man's troops have already gone to the Black Gold Dynasty and are expected to arrive in 10 minutes. Do you think Iron Man will abolish the Black Gold Dynasty? There are 1 million civilians there. This will be the trigger for World War III. My friend is a power user, and he has already regarded this war as a holy war. I want to see blood flow like a river. Die, die, die. This war will make those old parties realize who is the master of the new era. Will the Avengers win? I hope to win the Black Gold Dynasty, because New York has been ruled by the Avengers. Do you know bionic robots? Idiot, you've been deceived by fake news, and you'll believe the nonsense of bionic robots. Maybe the Avengers and Dark Gold won't fight. Peace hail. I don't know who said a famous saying. As long as your voice is loud enough, people will believe that shit smells good. The Earth is square. There are many admirers of the Heijin dynasty. Even if they never went a Black Gold Dynasty, still think it's a good place. Free, rich, powerful. Everyone still has the opportunity to become a cyborg, which is simply heaven. All of a sudden, the opinions on the internet were polarized. Some people want the Avengers to win. Some people want the Black Gold Dynasty to win. Violence can be seen everywhere. Some people even want to divide the Avengers. The cruelty of human nature is undoubtedly revealed in this global event. On the contrary, it is the silent peeping of the multivariate gods. Molecular field. Molecule Man Owen put his hands on his hips, and his vision encompassed the entire Earth. The focus is mainly on the transcendent on Xingtai. Owen is strong. But after all, he is only the Grasshead King, and he doesn't have a comprehensive understanding of the entire super-large multi-universe, and he doesn't know anything about the Super Protoss. So he thinks that he blew a hole in the field of transcendence, which led to the birth of the transcendent. He is obliged to supervise the transcendent. It may be cruel to think so, But I hope he dies in this execution. Owen touched his chin and said casually, he is not of the lawful and good camp. He once thought about dominating and ruling the universe, but he was woken up later. Dawn of Genesis. Sesnig leaned into the golden universe, and a large screen appeared in front of his eyes, as if it was a TV. This TV is showing the execution stage a few minutes ahead of what is happening in that universe. Advertisement. What terrible magic is this? Ordinary people can't imagine. Beyond the Protoss, Sesnig murmured, then suddenly yawned and closed his eyes. An indifferent attitude. In a spaceship, Galactus sat on his throne, his face full of thought. Abe, father, what are you thinking? Nada came bouncing over with a cute expression on her face. Gonetta, there is a piece of cake in front of you now. What will you do? Is the choice to eat it, or eat it, or eat it? Nada became speechless after hearing Galactus' words. Isn't this no choice? Father, are you going to devour living planets again? Nada asked angrily. Galactus shook his head and said, no, what I want to devour this time is a person. If we absorb him, we will no longer have to be bothered by hunger. Nada was a little confused. Even she herself doesn't know how terrifying the devouring power of herself and her father is. Because, from birth to now, she has never been full. And her father's appetite will only be bigger than hers. Does such a person really exist? You'll never be hungry again after eating it. Drooling from the corner of Ganada's mouth, she quickly shook her head and waved her hands. No, no, no. Father, you must not become a hungry slave. Galactus said. The last time you were hungry and cried, I gave you energy. Nada refused. Then I don't want to eat people either. Galactus shook his head and ignored the foolish daughter. After a while, the spaceship stopped abruptly. It has already arrived in the outer space of Lin Ke's universe. Space-time administration. A blue-skinned man stood with his hands behind his back. This is Kong the Conqueror, King of Thousands, from Earth 6311. He has destroyed and conquered countless eons. Kong, the former black man of the space-time administration, is lying in a pool of blood at this moment. Why? Why would you do this? With blood overflowing from Black Kang's mouth, he spoke with difficulty. Conqueror Kong looked back, glanced at him and said, why? Because I want rights, you are weak, so you died. Does this need a reason? Black Kong said bitterly, I can help you. We should be natural allies. Kong the Conqueror seemed amused by his words. Ally? I don't need an ally like you. Have you ever seen a lion and a sheep form an alliance? You are already doomed to die in this timeline, whether I come or not. You who can't even understand this, why should you form an alliance with me? Now, everything about you is mine, and you can die in peace. After Kong the Conqueror finished speaking, he raised Min. A button appeared in the void ahead. He tapped lightly. In the next second, the black man Kong was retroactively turned into a time particle, and the conquered Kongi held it in his hands. Later, he was Kong who single-handedly founded the Space-Time Administration. None of the employees will question that. A transcendent, a variable beyond time. I want you. Under the gaze of an unknown number of eyes. The Iron Array descended on the Black Gold Dynasty. Chapter 89. Tony didn't bring the Steel Army down outside the city as some people expected. There is no manipulation of the Steel Army, and the ground is washed directly. Instead, the Steel Army descended on the city and surrounded the city center. This is a deterrent. The majestic mechs descended on the city. The largest ones were tens of meters high. Some mechas equipped with reconnaissance functions even release their subflight devices from their bodies at the moment of landing, quickly detect the entire battlefield, and occupy the information position dash. The people who were screaming fiercely all screamed and fled. Seeing the mecha with my own eyes and seeing the mecha on TV are completely two different feelings. Ordinary people will tremble in fear when standing in front of a tiger. Standing under a giant statue makes you feel small. And when they saw the ferocious, tall, and mighty mecha, they only had one emotion, and that was fear. Mortals are born with a fear of giants, fear of war machines, the fear of taking their lives with a wave of your hand. Under the superposition of triple fear, the civilians fled frantically, fearing that they would be one step behind and be crushed into meat by the waiting mechs. More than 30,000 cyborgs also started commotion. How to fight this? Gudong, this is the first time I've faced a mecha, Mom. I'm so scared. This is different from killing ordinary people. We can't deal with this kind of monster. Those who are afraid of the war will kill them directly. Idiots, this is an urban area, and the mechs dare not attack. When the order comes, just pick up the electromagnetic fork and shoot them to pieces. Discussions on the ground were quickly suppressed. At the same time, the civilians who had originally fled found that the armed forces of the Black Gold Dynasty had set up a firepower network at the key intersection. All fleeing people are forced to stop. Inside the fighter jet, Tony's expression sank when he saw this scene. This group of bastards, what do you think of life? A passionate roar erupted from his mouth. The heroes present were shocked by his momentum. It was the first time they had seen Tony get so angry. Seeing him like this, Thor sighed in his heart, but at the same time he was helpless. Tony just cared so much about every life. Is there any war without dead men? In fact, he originally wanted to call on Asgard's fighting forces to help, but was overruled by the other Avengers, because that is no different from a large-scale armed conflict. Now the entire Black Gold Dynasty is sure of their point. Are you not heroes? Are you not peace-loving? Are you afraid that millions of people will die in one battle? Tony, I want you to get out of your toys now, or I'll shoot him. Osborn wears the Green Goblin suit and skateboards around the execution platform flight. After looking around and not finding Tony's real body, he took out a pistol and pointed it at Hawkeye. 3, 2. Just as Osborn's eyes were getting dangerous and he was about to pull the trigger, a golden-red steel armor flew out of the fighter plane. Ha 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 ha! Immediately, the biochemical soldiers burst into laughter, as if they had already won a big victory. Ha ha ha! Osborn laughed too. Tony's panicked look made him very satisfied. Next second, boom! Osborn shot Hawkeye in the leg. Let me see your true face, and let your rotten friends come out, or I will kill him now. Osborn looked up at Tony and said arrogantly. Tony immediately took off the mask and said nervously, I'll do whatever you want. Please don't hurt them. This scene was faithfully recorded by the live video. Advertisement: there has been a new debate around the world. Ja ha 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 ha. Osborn had never felt so good. This is Iron Man. Boom. Osborn resolutely shot Hawkeye's thigh again, showing the fierceness of the hero. Kneel on Shingtai for me. The extremely humiliating words were slapped on Tony's face like a slap in the face. Inside the building, in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows, Jean Bin had interesting eyes, wanting to see what Tony was going to do. Do you think he will jump over the wall in a hurry? Dr. Octopus looked playfully. No one answered him. All eyes are on what Tony will do. Only Dr. Doom. His eyes stared at the Transcendent. I always feel that I have an inexplicable connection with the other party. It's not good. It's too embarrassing. Tony begged. The live video of the Black Gold Dynasty immediately and thoughtfully made a close-up of his face. 0. Seeking flowers. Do as I say. Osborn said hysterically. Seeing Tony hesitate, he was about to shoot for the third time. Tony quickly landed from the sky and came to Shingtai. Osborn smiled, not afraid of Tony's mischief. The Hawkeye trio were wearing explosive collars around their necks. Whenever there is any abnormality, Jean Bing will control the collar to explode. Reed. Tony stared at the three of Reed, with an annoyed look on his face. I'm sorry, I made a mistake in making a decision. Reed shook his head and said, It's not your fault. No one would have thought that B************ D Dumb would be a member of the Black Gold Dynasty. Hearing this, Tony felt better and looked at Transcendence. Transcendence. I'm sorry, I couldn't get in touch with Lin Ke. 0. The Transcendence listened and didn't seem to be affected at all. In the sunny and cheerful expression, there was even a little excitement. This child is still the same, Tony thought to himself. Hey Tony, I didn't ask you to catch up. Get on your knees. Osborn said impatiently. Also, what about your teammates? Didn't I tell you to let those rotten fish and shrimp come out? Tony spread his hands and said, We can talk. I will agree to whatever you want. Osborn sneered. What do you want? Definitely want everything in this world. Avengers is the biggest stone in front of you. Therefore, all members of the Avengers must die. Kill the roots. Soon Osborn was having a fling with Tony. Why do I feel like he's stalling for time? Jean frowned. Mrs. Gao said, Why don't you just kill Tony? Dr. Doom. It must be wiped out at once. We can no longer do the thing of letting the tiger go back to the mountain. Connors. We can kill the unimportant character first. Jean Bin. Who? Connors. That kid called Transcendent. When everyone heard the words, they all agreed. Watching the death of his companions, he couldn't believe that those superheroes wouldn't come out. Immediately, Jean Bin said, Osborn, you heard what we said here. Osborn touched the headset and said with a smile, "Definitely." With that said, the gun was aimed at the Transcendent's head again. Chapter 90. Immediately, the Transcendent became visibly panicked. He never expected that he would be the first to be used for surgery. It was still a while before he obtained invincible power. "You won't be killed early, will you? I don't know if the bullet hurts my body." Those who surpassed in the past would not think about this. Now he has the concept of death, the concept of fear, and the concept of regret. If you die first, you must be very sorry, right? No, I definitely can't die like this. Tony, I say it again. Let those holsters on your back come out. Osborn issues an ultimatum. "You're wearing a uniform, too?" Tony couldn't help but yelled, and then looked at the fighter behind him. No need for him to say. Thor and Daredevil have already jumped off the fighter jet. Looking at the surrounding biochemical people, they are ready to fight. Good. Osborn, 277, nodded in satisfaction and said, "I want you to put down your weapons now and be captured obediently, otherwise, the Avengers can be said to be completely mastered." "What do you want to do to us?" Natasha Romanoff stared at Osborn, out of the corner of her eye, in a mansion. Jean Bing and others were in that building. "What to do? You will find out later now. Put down your weapon first." It is absolutely impossible for Osmond to directly say that he will kill you all. In that case, the Avengers would have to resist desperately. There must be some hope and suspense for them. "Sorry, we can't do that." Natasha Romanoff declined. Thor followed suit. "Let him go now, or the fish will die." "Dead fish?" "The fish will die, but the net will never break." Osborn sneered. The old trick was repeated, and the gun was aimed at the Transcendent. "You shoot. My brother will avenge me." The Transcendent raised his neck and said without fear. A trace of surprise flashed in Osborn's eyes, and he asked, "Who is your eldest brother?" The Transcendent proudly said, "Lin Ke." "Lin Ke? The one that helped Tony research the mecha?" Osborn understood and said with disdain, "I thought it was a big shot." The Transcendence wasn't angry. Lin Ke's level is beyond Osborn's comprehension. Facing the imminent death, she was not afraid, and she was faintly disappointed that the game was about to end. For him, this game is neither a clearance nor a failure. Instead, there was a sense of loss and discomfort that came to an abrupt end. Hunting down Thanos' mystery bundle, not yet available. The forbearance task has not been completed. There may be more tasks in the future, and he was nowhere to be seen. The Transcendent is silent in the numerous thoughts, and his emotions fluctuate. This is very rare for him. His mind has always been simple. It's rare to have two minds at the same time. "Boy, this is because the Avengers have given up on you, so you can't blame me." Before killing the Transcendent, Osborn did not forget to sow discord. The Transcendent sighed again and again. Boom. Osborn shot. Bullets go through the air. Time seems to be stretched infinitely at this moment. Tony's pupils constrict. Thor clenched his fists. Daredevil's heart skipped a beat. An oval spark portal opened. Two thin fingers stretched out from it, pinching the bullet. Then, Mia and Cindy jumped out of the portal. "It's Supergirl." Those who recognized it, the biochemical people exclaimed. Through the live broadcast, people all over the world couldn't help cheering up. "Supergirl, I knew they would show up. Oh my God, this is the first time all Supergirls have appeared. Justice must prevail. The Black Gold Dynasty is destined to perish today. I seem to be going to the scene. Advertisement, I want to go too. If I can see this Supergirl 6 with my own eyes, I would die." The most popular superhero group today. Not the Avengers, but Supergirl. There are a lot of idiots all over the world. Some people even come to New York to become villains in order to chase stars, just to meet Supergirl. "Hey, the main character is here." Jean Bing and the others' eyes became sharp all of a sudden. Thanos couldn't help leaving his seat and came to the French window. It was these women who destroyed their dreams. The army is buried, and the dream breaks New York. How can I kill them? Thanos wants to kill Supergirl right now. It is not only to eradicate the threat of future family planning, but also to eradicate the nightmare in my heart. Everyone looked at Dr. Doom and Jean Bin. In the negotiations before the war, they agreed that Supergirl was far more threatening than Avengers. And Dr. Doom says he has an idea. "Supergirl, you guys really dare to come." Osborn drove away quickly with the flight controller. Sky and the others ignored the Joker, but turned their attention to the Transcendent. "Transcendent, are you okay?" Lorna landed on Xingtai Zero. "Sister Lorna, I miss you so much." The Transcendent wept with joy. Emotions are totally like a child. Seeing his appearance, Lorna chuckled lightly and raised her hand to dismantle the Transcendent's explosive collar. However, she frowned and said, "Ant-Man, get out of the way." Pym was picking the lock, and he was about to succeed. Then I heard Lorna's words. Without any hesitation, he returned to his original size and stepped aside. Next second, position reversed. The three explosive collars turned into fly ash at the same time. The three are back to freedom. Overjoyed, Reed stretched his arms and held Hawkeye in his arms. At this time, a female voice sounded from one side. "Leave. This is Susan from Fantastic Four." She actually came to Xingtai without anyone noticing it. It seems that even if Mia and the others don't appear, the Transcendent will not die. No escape. Green Goblin was furious and threw a few Green Goblin grenades from far away. Boom. Tony sent out a laser beam to intercept the bomb, his face ecstatic. "This is a turnaround. Let's leave quickly." Tony looked at Mia and the others. "Mia and others can fly. You probably don't need your own assistance to escape. Leave." Simmons gave Tony a surprised look. Isn't Tony very smart? Why does it feel stupid than her? Wrong. I am not stupid. I have a special degree in biology. 3.2 It's all because Mr. Lin said he was stupid. Since we are all here, let's directly destroy the Black Gold Dynasty. Sky looked confident. Tony was stunned, then a little shocked. There are tens of thousands of biochemical soldiers here. Supergirl wants to swallow it in one gulp. Destruction? I want to see how you are destroyed. A burst of deep laughter sounded from the sky. Dr. Doom floated in the sky at some point, holding a purple scepter in his hand. When everyone looked at him, he decisively threw the scepter into the air. Instant. With the execution platform as the core, the whole city center is lit up with a lot of magic runes. Mia and the others immediately felt their power being suppressed. And something even more terrible happened. In the formation, the vitality of all creatures was quickly squeezed out and then put into the body of Dr. Doom, who quickly became a 100-meter giant. There is no distinction between the enemy and the enemy.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card, directly on my channel, or right here on the screen. And as always, if you have any feedback, feel free to share it in the comments too.